Alright, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you guys are tuning in from. So yeah, this is, as the title suggests, the first stream of its kind. My name is Lion Guy Sai, and and we're starting with unfollow apparently. Thanks for the follow so much, Oliver Galdock. Welcome to the stream. But yeah, so this is my first Japanese kind of like teaching stream. I studied Japanese for a few years in university, and I've been to Japan like 5 times or so. And I really like the language, so I thought I'd share that passion with you guys. And yeah, with my studies and tutoring, I've picked up some really cool resources that, you know, hopefully I can implement into the stream and see where we go from there. So yeah, and hopefully you guys can hear me okay, because I woke up this morning without hearing in my right ear, and that was intense. So hopefully the music isn't too loud or whatnot. Good afternoon. But yeah, so I have the PDFs of the Genki textbook and the workbook available on the stream. So you can type like !Genki text, and that will give you the link to the textbook, and similarly !Genkiwork, and that will show the link for the workbook, so you can all do it together, follow along together. And I'm gonna actually take a quick second before we dive into it to switch up the soundtrack. Okay, cool. So perfect. It's all perfect timing. Welcome, John. Thanks for the raid, mate. Welcome to my first Japanese teaching stream. Hopefully, anyway. But yeah, if any of you guys have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. I'm not a native Japanese speaker. Any information I give is 100% based on my own experience and what I know. So please keep that in mind. And with that, let's kick it off. Thanks for the free classes. I mean, this is my first one, mate, and I'd be happy to, because it's a good review for me as well, right? So yeah, here we go. Oh damn, I meant to use this as the introduction stream, because then the thumbnail can be of the Genki textbook, and that can, you know, bring in viewers that would like. But yeah, there's Genki text for you. And yeah, so let's dive into it. It's the middle of the week, and you know, inspiration struck after watching some streamers like John Collin, for example. And so for the first one, I think I'll do one chapter of Genki from the textbook, and the corresponding workbook chapter. But in the future, I might split up the textbook chapter at the beginning of the week, and then the workbook chapter later on in the week, so we can all have time to study on our own and do them before, you know, we go through them together. But yeah, that's, you know, future stuff is for the future. It's the middle of the week right now, right? Yeah. So inspiration strikes at weird times, right? I work Sunday to the Wednesday. Ah, okay. So it's your weekend. Perfect, Yo-Yo Gam. Okay. So hajime ni, I'm not gonna read this, assuming I can read this. My kanji's quite crap, which, you know, is, I'm sure, really you know, encouraging to those tuning in. But we'll skip to page, I think it's like 30 or something. Sky Walter DBZ, thanks for the follow, mate. Welcome. Okay, so here we have the first real page. Kaiwa Bunpo Hen, hen meaning section, as we can see the translation directly underneath. Welcome. It's the most interesting part. Well, you're welcome to read it on your own time. You have the link for the textbook and everything too, no? Yeah, I, you know, wholly encourage self-study, of course. Okay, so we begin with the most important part of any language, assuming, you know, it's like a grouping of people that we're going to use this language with, right? Aisatsu. So aisatsu means greetings, as we can see. And I'm sure most of you would have heard this before. Oh, so brief tidbit. I can't really help with hiragana, katakana, as in like, I know them obviously, but like if you don't know them, it might be a little bit difficult to, fully keep up with the stream. So I really, really encourage you learn hiragana, katakana minimum. And even if if your schedule is too demanding, then even just hiragana is fine. But learning those two are absolutely essential. Curses. What about curses, Yo-Yo? Curses, and yeah, they're also really important parts of languages. But I won't be going any Japanese curse words in this stream, especially not the first stream. But anyway, turn the music slightly down a little bit. Okay, so the first one, ohayo. Ohayo means good morning, and this is like fairly casual, like a child to their mother. You guys can join the Discord and we can have more cursing oriented chats there. Okay, so a mother and child, ohayo, pretty casual, right? You're fairly theoretically casual with your family. But if you want to make that more polite, like a student to the teacher, or anyone older in general that you don't know, ohayo gozaimasu. We add the word gozaimasu here. And we won't go too into it. It's kind of difficult when it comes to formality in Japanese. But we can just think of it as like a fixed phrase. If we just remember that if you add gozaimasu to certain greetings, greetings or like words like we'll see later, it just makes it more formal. I literally thought he meant calling down misfortune on people instead of swear words. Oh, curses. Yeah, me too. That's why it took me a second to kind of sync up to what he meant. Okay, so we have ohayo. Ohayo gozaimasu. Konnichiwa. Konnichiwa means good afternoon, good day, hello. Konbanwa. So this is hiragana ha, but it's also used as wa, pronounced as wa in some situations, such as particles, and I guess in words like konnichiwa, konbanwa. So, dark arts lessons are on Tuesdays. That's right. Don't tell them that, John. Those secret occult meetings are between us for now. We can bring people in as we see fit, but don't just pronounce it to the world, Okay, konnichiwa, konbanwa. This guy looks a little bit sus. Like he seems like he's had a really nice night on the town, but we won't delve too deeply into it. Hey Magi, how are you? I'm swell, thanks for asking. Sorry, very hush. That's right, John. The first rule of Dark Arts Club is we do not talk about Dark Arts Club. That's right. I hate particle wa and ga. That's good. That hatred is natural. Feel that, embrace that hatred, and we'll work through it together theoretically. I also hate wa and ga, but we'll see. Not enough time to cover the plight of the salaryman. Yeah, definitely not the first time. Yeah. The plight of the salaryman. That's right. And he's holding like omiyage too. So like, oh, you can't see my cursor. Hang on, let me make sure cursor captures on. Give me one moment. Capture cursor. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So he's got like this omiyage too. Yeah. Okay. I hate all particles. You cannot hate all particles, Sky Walter. Particles make the language, truly. But it's good. That means you can just speak casual. In casual speech, we don't have to worry about particles. Okay. So, ohayo gozaimasu, konnichiwa, konbanwa, sayonara. Sayonara is like one of those Japanese words that like so many English speakers know because it's like, I don't know, it's so much in every like stereotype or like, cartoon or whatever. But sayonara is actually quite formal tiyuka, formal or like not as often used. It's quite like katai. Katai means as an adjective hard or formal. But it's like very, almost has a sense of like finality to it. Just drop all particles easy, point and stuff and smile. That's right. Why do you need direct object like particle or if you can just be like that? Sono hon kudasai. Yeah, very common in a hello and goodbye in most cases. That's right. Oh wow, I'm here. Just got back. Ah, perfect timing. Welcome. Isn't it good to know a formal way of speaking, especially in Japanese? Yeah, and so that's why, especially in Genki 1, For the most of Genki 1, you learn Tenego, which is just like mass form. And then Genki 2, actually, I think it's Genki 2, or end of Genki 1, introduces casual speech, like between friends. And then later on in Genki 2, you get into like Keigo. So like Son Keigo, Kenjogo, Tenego. But yeah, okay. So moving on, we can't be on the first page for this long. I mean, I love it. I love chat interaction, especially for like the first stream. It's very emboldening. But like, you know, you guys will be here for freaking forever. Sushi, eat mouth. Yeah, no. Okay, so sayonara, basically pretty formal. And has a sense of finality to it. Like, you just kill someone like in Kill Bill, and you'd be like, shing. That's the katana sound, and be like sayonara, and just leave. Or sarabada, and just like leave. Anyway, so oyasumi nasai. It's also like a mother-child relationship, but like it's more of the nasai part is like kind of makes it formal. But still in this sense, like oyasumi nasai can totally be said by like a mother. It's kind of like that imagery is like, you know, you have a mother saying it to their child. And of course everyone knows domo, but like this part arigato. And don't forget like this u sound. And like ohayo, arigato, it extends the vowel sound. So we have to make sure we don't say arigato, but like arigato, a little bit extended. And then arigato gozaimasu, thank you very much, as the lady is shown the directions by the police officer, theoretically. We're gonna see Keigo eventually, mate. And I'm doing like a beginner stream every week, but I'll also do like Japanese streams for like my level, or as like for my own personal growth as well. So maybe we'll see some Keigo there, but doubt it. I mean, I like Keigo just fine, but like studying it is like, you know, bashing one's head against the wall. When I kill someone with Pucci. So by formal, I mean ultra badass. Well, you know, formal can be ultra badass. It can also be sarcastic. Japanese people use sarcasm differently. But sometimes using like an extra layer of formality when it's not necessary can be considered sarcastic, so be careful with that too. I'm gonna hush up now since I already know early Genki 1, just look for now, that's fine. What's this pamphlet? Where did you get it? It's not a pamphlet. This is actually the Genki 1 textbook, and if we use the command, I think that you'll see down below, Genkitext, you can... Okay, good. Streamlabs is trolling me for a hot second, but you can totally get access to it too. And same with Genki Workbook, that we'll get there too. Shout out to sumimasen, the word I actually use the most in Tokyo. Yeah, so the next one. Perfect. Thank you, John, for the transition here. Sumimasen. Sumimasen means a plethora of things. It can mean I'm sorry, excuse me. Like, it can be like a call for attention, not like in a traditional sense, but like if you... I guess that falls under excuse me, but like if you're like in a restaurant in Japan, you can actually say like sumimasen, depending on how classy it is, but most restaurants like that you can walk into, in America at least, in the USA, it'd be pretty rude to be like to the waiter, just like snap your fingers and be like, hey, like pay attention to me, take my order. But in Japan, it's actually quite normal, and the word that you use is sumimasen. Fun fact, sumimasen can be colloquially shortened to yuka, changed into something called, instead of sumimasen, it can become sui, like i, suimasen. So, but make sure that you don't type it that way, because in text it's still pronounced and like written as sumimasen. And then iie means no, or like no problem. So like freaking gets healed to the foot, but he's like, oh, it's fine. You can see like visible pain on this dude's face. Specifically when squeezing past people and asking help for shops and etc. Yeah, John. Absolutely. Sumimasen is like the most like, probably like the most useful word you can know in Japanese, besides like, you know, it's probably even more useful than arigato. Arigato gozaimasu. It's probably that level. Like, it's way higher. It's incredible. I do not smoke. Sumimasen. Yes, very good. So as Keith Timberlane TG pointed out, as I do not smoke, that's because su, S-U-U, is the verb to smoke or to suck specifically. And sumimasen is the present negative mas form of that, so it can also be that. But if you say sumimasen, they'll understand, as long as, especially if you're not holding like anything to smoke. So, but just yes. Do you recommend using romaji? Not at all, mate. It's great in the beginning. Like, for example, literally here we can see the words we have learned. And they're only in Romaji here because we haven't gotten to the hiragana, katakana part within the textbook itself. But after chapter 1, chapter 2, it's all in hiragana. The Romaji, it's cool to see like the extended vowels. Like I remember I mentioned like Ohayo, it's like an extended U sound or O sound. And it's cool to see that written down in like Romaji alphabet so we can understand it as if we're not familiar with the kana. But absolutely learn hiragana, katakana as quickly as possible. Super important. Yeah, it's really, really important. And it's really not so bad after you get used to it. Which, is like a self-serving statement, but okay, another phrase, ittekimasu. Ittekimasu means, it's a fixed phrase. It means like I'll be going. Well, it literally means I'll be going and coming back, but it just means like I'll be off. You can remember that as I'll be off. Give me 1 second. Latin music is wonderful, super wonderful, but not for this part. Let's put on some Mozart. Mozart's like not gonna be DMCA'd, right? Surely. Okay, now we're very posh Japanese language learning stream. Okay, so ittekimasu means I'll be off. Itterashai. Itterashai. Please notice the small tsu. Itterashai. Itterashai means, I'll go and come back, but be safe, see you later kind of thing. When it's like a person at home, not like, catch you later, alligator kind of thing. Tadaima, the opposite of ittekimasu, opposite tyuka, it just means when you're back home, like I'm back. And it doesn't only have to be when you're like coming back home. You can also say it in certain social situations, but for the beginning at least, it's best to memorize it just saying like in this situation, tadaima. Okaeri nasai. Okaeri nasai means welcome back, welcome home. And this can also be shortened to okaeri by itself. You can drop the nasai formality wise. I played Ode to Joy on Ocarina and Twitch auto deletes it every time I clip it. What? That's insane. Well, it's fine. I don't really expect to put this up on YouTube, and but I do want a VOD of this. Fuck. Well, we're gonna risk it. Chapter 1 is fine. I can risk it with chapter 1. I already know hiragana, katakana, and some kanji. Perfect. Then you're perfect. Yeah. But definitely do not recommend Romaji. But that's good that you already know all of them. Well, 2 of them anyway. Itadakimasu, one of the most common weeb anime phrases, means like, it literally means I humbly accept in relation to the food. But itadaku is the kenjogo form of the verb morau, which is a lot of information, especially if you're a beginner. So if you don't understand it, that's fine. But if you do understand it, there's a tidbit for you. But it just means like I humbly receive this food. Itadakimasu. Gochisou sama deshita. Gochisou sama deshita means like thanks for the meal. And I realized there's this thing right here. And maybe I just realized that right now, but it's fine. I like this as a review from myself. This is the vocabulary I learned from anime. Yeah, it's aisatsu are really important. Hajimemashite is what you say to someone when you meet them for the first time. It means like literally like it's translated here as how do you do, but it's not that. There's no question, there's no like anything. It just means like I'm beginning this relationship. It doesn't actually mean, but like hajimeru versus hajimaru, but yeah, it's basically like this is the beginning. Hajimemashite. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Onegai shimasu means like I beg your favor kind of thing. We use it in some games like the game of Go. But it literally means like onegai shimasu literally means it's kenjogo again, so it's like humble speech. You're putting yourself below the listener. And it's saying like onegai, so a wish, and I do shimasu, so I make this wish. And yoroshiku is just like kind of that extra layer of like, formality or like politeness kind of feeling. So hajimemashite yoroshiku onegai shimasu is pretty set phrase. So hajimemashite goes to the beginning, and then you can say blah 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 whatever introduction, and at the end you'd say yoroshiku onegai shimasu. So that's a typical jiko shoukai. Yeah, so ohayo is said between friends and family. Ohayo gozaimasu is less intimate acquaintances, so on and so forth. sayomana. Yeah, actually, you know, hey. Okay, so sumimasen is excuse me, to get another person's attention. I'm sorry to apologize for the trouble you have caused. Wow, this is like super Japanese, number 2. And thank you, to show appreciation for someone has done for you, for something someone has done for you. This thank you use of sumimasen is actually really common. And if you don't remember it as a thank you word, you'd be like, why are you apologizing? But they're not. It's like, sorry for making you go out of your way, or like, sorry for putting you through the trouble. And that means thank you in an indirect way. Thanks for the sumimasen, Sorako. Thanks for the stretch. But yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, John. So fun fact, when I came back to Japan from like the 18th time, whenever my friends would do something like, I wouldn't say, sumimasen. I'd be like, sorry. And they're like, why are you saying sorry? I'm like, because like, I don't know why I'm saying sorry. And they're just like, you're so weird. I'm like, wow, I am. It's great. Domo. Domo is also good. Sorry for the trouble. Interesting. Very Japanese. That's right. Sorry for the trouble equals thank you. It's crazy. Hi, Sorako. Yes, no, and so on. But it can also be like, don't mention it. Okay. Itterashai, we explained this. Okay, cool. So we're gonna act out the following situations with your classmates. We're not acting out any situations because I have no classmates. It's just me, and I don't disassociate hard enough to act these out. That was pretty dark, and I apologize. But you meet your host family for the first time. How would you greet them? You use hajimemashite. You say hajimemashite, your name, and at the end you'd say yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Scout. I think I immersed for about 200 hours of Japanese before I heard always anyway say iie. They're significantly more likely to either just say yeah or what is that kanji? Oh, that might be a little hard to. Muzukashii ne. Okay. Yeah, so iie is like, I think you touched upon a good point. An outright no is relatively rare in Japan. They might say like chotto or like and like use these kinds of vocalizations instead of saying an outright no. However, iie can be used, and keep in mind this is a textbook after all, but yes, iie is totally still absolutely fine to use as like a no problem kind of thing, or but yeah, that's good. It's a good point to touch on. Haha, the skits. Yeah, I'm missing with the skits. I mean, I really loved him in class because, human interaction is kind of my thing, hence the Twitch. But, okay, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You see your neighbor, Mr. Yamada. So, Yamada-san, konnichiwa. Konnichiwa. Number 3, you come to class in the morning. Greet your teacher. Greet your friends. Don't tell me what to do, Genki. You're not my dad. Okay. So how would you greet your teacher? It's in the morning, right? So you greet your teacher with Ohayou gozaimasu. Ohayou gozaimasu. And then your friends. Like John-san, John-kun. Ohayou. Ohayou. Like this. My teachers do tend to push me away from just saying an EA reply. Yeah. One word replies like no, for example, are not as great. You kind of want to make it a softer rejection if you do reject. So just saying like yeah, and also it's like a conversation killer, right? Like, oh, did you see that ludicrous display last night? Reference to the IT crowd, and they just be like yeah, and then just like cheers, and like move on. It'd be kind of weird, right? So, but yeah, no, it's a good point. All right, number 4. On a crowded train, you stepped on someone's foot. You're pulling a Mary-san over here. Scrolling on this is so annoying. But yeah, you're pulling... Actually, this isn't Mary, but like anyway. So, it's a crowded train, so you can't be you can't be blamed too much. But even then, you say, "Sumimasen, sumimasen." Number 5. You dropped your book. Someone picked it up for you. Domo or arigatou gozaimasu. And a non-native speaker, tiyuka, or like especially an English speaker, might just be like, "Oh, arigatou." This is not good. If you don't know them, you should still use formal speech. Arigatou gozaimasu. It's just that kind of level of appreciation. If they're like a kid, be like, oh, arigato, that's fine. But like, if they're your age or older or whatever, or if it's ambiguous, arigato gozaimasu is the correct way. I stepped on their foot, so I've defeated them, so I say sayonara. That's right. You step on they're on their train, right? So you step on their foot, and then the next stop, you just toss them out and be like, sayonara, and then the train departs, and you're like regarded as a hero or a badass. Na wake nai yaro. There's no way that's gonna happen. Okay. That was an example of English noritsukomi, but we'll touch on that later. Okay, it's 8 o'clock at night. Ha, night's it's cute. They regard 8 o'clock as nighttime. Ha. You happen to meet your teacher at the convenience store. Okay, so make no mistake. Even if it's at a convenience store, they're still your teacher, whether you're at school or not. But it doesn't really matter, actually. So you'd still say konbanwa either way, if it was your teacher or your friend. Konbanwa. Yeah, still konbanwa. I don't know why they mentioned this. Just for the konbanwa, I guess, part. But it doesn't matter. It can be your teacher, your friend, your, childhood rival. Doesn't really matter. Moo balls! Welcome to the stream. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. It can sometimes throw me off when I try to say something other than EA in class, and they're just like, in this case, you can just say EA, and I'm just like, but, cry. Yeah, I mean, classes are a bit different, so sometimes you should, well, in general, you should give, you should defer to the teacher of the class. Just go with the flow, don't cause any ruckus, but, in the real world of Japanese, you're right. But, let's not disrupt a class flow, it'd be kind of weird, no? I avoid making eye contact so I don't have to talk to them. Well, guess. That's right. No, that's perfectly... See, what's considered as antisocial or, rude in the West is, spot on sometimes. Please don't quote me out of context here. But, avoiding eye contact, totally normal. Yeah. yeah, thanks for the stream. Yeah, so nice, so polite. It's one-on-one, no flow into ruin but my own. Ah, okay. But still, creating a good impression is important. No need to be argumentative. Pick your battles, right? Okay, you're watching TV with your host family. It's time to go to sleep. Sayonara! And you just kill them. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, how do you say goodnight? Oyasumi nasai. Oyasumi nasai. Even if it's your host family, because it's not your blood family, or it could be, I don't know how you guys roll, but theoretically you'd still use oyasumi nasai. If it's a super chill vibe and, you've already been living them for 6 months or something, you can, oyasumi is probably fine too. You're leaving home. Sayonara. No. Just kidding. Ittekimasu. Ittekimasu. I'll be back. Ittekimasu. You have come back home. Hey, perfect. Nice continuity between 8 and 9. Tadaima. Tadaima. You're going to start eating. So, itadakimasu. I was trying to make something clever, but nothing occurred to me, so we just have to go with the textbook. Itadakimasu. You have finished eating. Gochusou-sama. Gochusou-sama deshita, technically. Aisatsu to ojiki. This is actually pretty cool. I haven't read this before today's stream, so I'm going to reread it. But before that, I'll read Frank Big Time's comment. Avoiding eye contact is a very good overall strategy for keeping the peace in a very densely populated city. I have been to Japan loads of times, and I've never been to Tokyo yet. But yeah, it's a good way. And that way, how sometimes this is super niche and probably not at all relevant, but I'll say it anyway because it's my stream, and if you don't like it, sayonara. But when someone waves at you and you wave back, but they're not waving at you, they're waving at the person behind you, and you just kind of want to die. That doesn't happen if you never make eye contact with them. Just saying. Pro tip. English culture has done a very bad job of making people think sayonara is a single source goodbye. Yeah, and it's not even... So it's not even a problem of being a single source. It's also a bad source. That is not default that people should think of as goodbye. じゃあね、ありがとうございました. Yeah, yeah, see you later. Thanks for the stream. No. Please don't go, Keith. I was just messing. Okay. Aisatsu to ojiki. Ojigi. Japanese people greet each other by bowing, which has many other functions, such as expressing regret. No, but also regret, yeah. Expressing respect, gratitude, or apologies. There are different ways of bowing, ranging from small nod of the head to a 45-degree bend at the waist. I have an amazing troll video for this, And if someone reminds me some other time, I would be happy to show it when it's not a specific lesson stream. Because there's so many like parody videos of like the Japanese bows, made by Japanese people, of course, and it's great. But yeah, the longer and deeper you bow, the more formal it is. And then the most formal is like dogeza. And dogeza is basically getting on your hands and knees and bowing in apology. But I have to go though. Oh, okay. That's fair. Thanks for stopping by. So yeah, this is important too. Many Japanese people tend to feel uncomfortable with physical contact, although handshaking is becoming quite common in business situations, especially those involving foreigners. Oh. Yeah, so don't and this could be different depending on the Japanese person, if they have any like exposure to like Western culture, like if they go to international school or whatever, but like yeah, certain things of like, you know, putting your arm around someone or like hugging people, your friends and stuff, like doing a intimate handshake, you know, all these kinds of cool things that we do to show familiarity and comfortableness with one another in the West. It's really not great in Japan, especially like stuff like sharing drinks. Although I can't speak too much about it because my Japanese friends are kind of chill, and even when I first met them, they were kind of chill. But yeah, I don't know. I remember as a kid thinking sharing drinks was like the weirdest and grossest thing, and like why would anyone do this? But like by 6th grade, we were just like, oh, you want to sip of this? Oh yeah, sure, mate, thanks. Probably not good in Japan, but and then there's meishi culture too. Meishi is like a business card or name card, according to John's vocabulary list. I don't know if John's still here. And so you hand things over with 2 hands. That doesn't only apply to business cards. It can apply to anything that you want to hand over to someone that's erai hito, like someone superior to you. You use 2 hands to give it. So like if I was submitting a report to my teacher, I'd use 2 hands to turn it in, kind of thing. And if you're being respectful back, you use 2 hands to accept it. But yeah, so when you give someone your business card, or if someone gives you their business card, let's use the latter example. If someone gives you their business card, you look at it and you read it properly. Like you look over it, even if you don't even understand what the position is or anything else. You just like show respect to them by showing respect to an extension of them, which is their business card. And you have to do it like super godly or overtly by like doing this or anything, but don't just like put it in your wallet or like put it on the table or anything immediately. The origin of ORZ. What's ORZ? Why is meishi remind us there is meishi and not meishi? Maybe because I don't know, and this is just my idea, but meishi, the latter one that you put, can also be like, oh, that's meishi. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. They also do that with like the extended O sound, like here Ohayo. This one can be written as OO or OU for most of these. Arigato can also be written as OU because that's the hiragana form, but that's why it's also really good to move away from romaji as quickly as possible, because then there's no ambiguity. Atarashii tomodachi. ORZ is the text emoji for full ning bao. Oh, okay. Interesting. Well, I wonder what ORZ stands for. Dogeza? It should be DGZ. But, oh, I see, huh? Yeah. That's just my idea. I have no idea if that's legitimate or not, of course. Okay, so we're making new friends. Now here is the main characters of the Genki 1 and 2 textbooks. You should remember their names. The person on the right is Meari, as we'll see, I'm sure, and the person on the left is Takeshi. They have a very complicated relationship, so if anything, this will, draw you into a Genki series. It's the shape. O is the head, R is the arms, and Z is the legs and knee. Or Z, look again. O is the head, R is the arms. R is the arms. Maybe my imagination's lacking. I'm not very sure, but it makes sense to me, I guess. Makes sense to me. You're looking at their side, doing it. Oh, okay. That makes more sense. Yeah. Their head is on the left. If you're looking at a side view, that makes more sense to me, yeah. And sorry I keep adjusting my right thing, is because this ear has no hearing at the moment. Freaking me out. Also, complete side note to people I've only met for the first time today, if you're one of those people. Today is going to be my last day with glasses because I'm getting LASIK tomorrow. I'm freaking excited as hell. Okay, so let's start with the the example dialogue, 会話. So this is a small tidbit. Meari, this is the katakana for Mary's name. Here's the romaji and here's the hiragana at the top. You can notice between Meari and Takeshi, if you guys know this information, Takeshi is written in hiragana, but Meari is written in katakana. This is because Meari is a foreigner. Foreigners' names, except for generally speaking Chinese names and Korean names, even Korean names I've seen in katakana. Yeah. Basically, at least for non-Asian names, especially, they're generally written in katakana. So when you introduce yourself, or if you write your name in Japanese, even if you know the hiragana, you should probably write it in katakana, unless you're Asian. It just be like that. You know, laser vision pog you. I noticed you disambiguated 2 words by pitch accent. I assume you have some decent grasp and history with the languages. No. That's another point I really wanted to bring up. I don't know. So I did study this for 4 years in university with an actual teacher, and I did tutor the language. But pitch accent is one of those things where it's hard to really focus that with a group class, you know, because not everyone's gonna get pitch accent, and you can't tailor the teaching to everyone learning the pitch accent. So the teacher was pretty forgiving at being a native speaker, and generally to foreigners they are pretty forgiving. I have experience with listening to Japanese. So this is how I say the words, and I know for a fact my pitch accent is not perfect. So definitely don't be like, oh, I watched Lion Guy's side stream and he said it like this. That's not the case. I'm just saying it how I remember hearing it. That's all. That's a good question. How did I write my own name when you were in Japan? Katakana. My name is, you guys can know my real name just for you guys, because like, you know, I'm not really bothered. This is my first name in katakana, Satya. But I was on an interview, soft flex, but I was in an interview in Japan for playing a game called Go, and they wrote my name with hiragana, I think. Did they? Or is it katakana? I think it was katakana anyway. But anyway, neither here nor there. C'est la vie. Huh, I see. Well, you're doing well. Thank you very much. Okay, so, Meari. Sumimasen. Sumimasen. I can do this falsetto voice. I've always wanted to do this. Please forgive me if it's shit. You guys chose this stream. I didn't make you come here. Sumimasen. Ima, nanji desu ka? That's so difficult. I take it back. I'm not gonna do that. Excuse me. This is not sorry, sumimasen. This is excuse me, sumimasen. Excuse me. Ima, right now. Nanji desu ka? What time is it? 12時半です。12時半です。It's 12:30. Remember the extended syllable here, or vowel sign here. 12時半です。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。Thank you very much. Yep, don't mention it. This is the first encounter between Meari and Takeshi. Second dialogue. This is Takeshi. 留学生ですか? 留学生ですか? Excuse me, are you a transfer student? Not transfer. Are you an exchange student? Meari. ええ、アリゾナ大学の学生です。アリゾナ大学の学生です。Yes, I'm from the University of Arizona. そうですか。そうですか。専攻は何ですか? 専攻は何ですか? I see. What's your major? Or specifically, as for your concentration, what is it? 日本語です。日本語です。It's Japanese. 今、2年生です。今、2年生です。I'm currently a second year student. And so we can see that. Excuse me. What time is it now? すみません。今何時です。Sorry. すみません。今何時ですか? 12時半です。12時半です。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。いいえ。いいえ。留学生ですか? 留学生ですか? ええ。アリゾナ大学の学生です。アリゾナ大学の学生です。そうですか。専攻は何ですか? 専攻は何ですか? 日本語です。日本語です。 今2年生です。今2年生です. I am a sophomore now. Okay. So here's our vocabulary from chapter 1. Ano and etto are both ums in Japanese. Ano, so the way we go or like or in English, every language has their own. So like for example in Spanish it's but yeah, in Japanese it's ano, etto. And if you guys can kind of put in ano instead of or etto instead of you'll sound a lot more fluent to Japanese speakers. It makes a big difference. I find younger people are more likely to use etto these days. Etto, ano, etto. Yeah, I could see that. I don't know. I haven't done any surveys or I haven't read any articles on it, but yeah, I can see that. They're both absolutely useful though. Like, by all means use whichever. Blew my mind when I first learned changes in different languages. Yeah, me too, right? Something you take for such granted. And in Mandarin, it sounds like a horrible slur in English. So it's just like, it blew my mind hearing it so much in China. I was like, bruh, how are you just going to walk around saying this? Oh, God. Purely based on watching a lot of YouTube and Terrace House, just my personal observation. Which Terrace House? Not Aloha Estate, I hope, right? But like Tokyo ones or Kanazawa one. But yeah, I realized it makes sense. Sneezes change between languages too. Everyone learns to pronounce their sneeze regionally. Oh, everyone except Aloha, which is trash. I 100% agree with you. I really hate Aloha, except for what's his face? I forgot his name, but the Kendall guy who just keeps like fucking practicing his swings by the pool. I love it. Okay. So John will know this, and we've talked about this on John's stream too. But like, I'm super into like Japanese variety shows and such like that. So if you are too, join the Discord, and we can happily talk about it. All right, ima, now, eigo. It looks ridiculous in English, like eigo, like EEGO, but eigo, English language. I'm sure you guys mostly know this, but go is like the suffix for language. So 英語、ドイツ語、スペイン語、日本語、中国語、韓国語. Yeah. Means yes. I don't hear as much as hai. Hai is more formal, but is like kind of odd, but definitely used. Hai, and or soul, isn't it? It is like kind of like, I think it was like kind of preppy, it's like it's like that kind of head bobby, like it's just weird. It's 100% like subjective, and that's my view on it. But Guilty Samurai, that's right, Guilty Samurai. That plot line is so good. They recently broke up, apparently. Had a long relationship though. Shirankatta. Tiyuka, I don't actually remember who he ended up with, to be honest. Oh, perfect. Here's the Go explanation. Perfect. Gakusei, student. Go language. Koukou, high school. Gogo, PM. So the difference between Koukou and Gogo, the difference between K and G, but also remember that this is an elongated vowel sound. Koukou, Gogo. Gozen, AM. Nani nani sai, or honyarara sai. Sai as a suffix means age, literally years. Well, not literally, but age in a way. So if I can say like 12 sai or 15 sai, the number, the thing preceding the sai is the number, and then sai means age or years. Some, Mr. and Mrs. We know this. I'm sure if you guys have read Japanese, you hear like san, kun, chan, han, dono. Like there's so many like suffixes, but san, kun, chan, these are the most common ones, and sama of course, but Langai sai, ten sai. Okay, that's a ridiculous pun. I don't know if you meant it that way. That's hilarious. Freaking hilarious. Ten sai means genius in Japanese, but 10 is obviously English for 10. That was the weirdest sentence I never expected to say in my life. But yeah, so 10 sai can mean like jusai, which is like 10 years old. That's great. Langai sai is a little bit different. I'm Langai years old, said no one ever. I abuse height way too much with my teachers. I use it way too many wakarimashita situations, and I've been trying to break the habit. Never said once. Is less formal than hi for sure. And if you use hi too many times in a row, it becomes super disrespectful. There's even like a phrase, an admonishment. Admonishment? Is that a verb? Is that a noun? Yeah, so as a kid, if you say hi too many times to your teacher or your parents, you'd be like, if the teacher would say like, shukudai dashite kudasai, please turn your homework, and you'd be like, hi, hi, hi. You say it like 3 times like that. Even in English, you can hear my kind of smarminess, right? But in Japanese, it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's literally like that same feeling. So then your teacher might rebuke you and say, hai wa ikai dake. Hai wa ikai dake. You'll hear that in some anime too, but it literally means like only say hi once. Because then it becomes kind of sardonic and rude. Yes, I meant it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I figured, John, you're very pun-minded like myself. I appreciate you. With tutoring, luckily everything is super informal. Yeah, that's right. It's always a small mercy. Okay, so G is a suffix for clock. If you guys don't know Japanese language, if you're truly beginners, you'll see a lot of like these suffixes that they add for descriptors. So like the time descriptors like with G, and size for age. But there's also like lots of counters like ko, like some ko, piki, or hiki technically, and like dai. It just depends on what you're counting. But that changes a lot too. So the idea of suffixes are really important in Japanese. So please remember. Jin is for people. Nihonjin. So it means like ethnicity type of people. So Nihonjin. Gaikokujin. Foreigner. Gaikokujin. Nihonjin. Japanese person. Doitsujin. German. Stuff like that. Small things, flat things, large animals, small animals, houses, boats, people, tearing hair out. That's right. Luckily, there's like if there's one that's called tsu, like hitotsu, futatsu, mitsu, yotsu, itsutsu, stuff like that, and that's a generic counter. So besides the ones that are like super obvious, like person, and like animal or something, if you just default to the tsu one, you'll totally be fine. And I think that's actually in Genki too, so it's a whiles away from this lesson. But if you know it, I'm happy to talk about it. But yeah, there's a lot of counters. But hey, if you know the counters, then you'll sound hella formal, like not formal, fluent. So if you know that books, the counter for books are satsu, issatsu, nisatsu, or for long cylindrical objects, it's hon, which is, I know it's ridiculous because book is hon in Japanese, but like, so like if I have one bottle, it's ippon, nihon, sanbon, stuff like that. But it's really good. So that in combination with ano, eto, stuff like that will really make you seem fluent even if you're not. Big tips. Okay. Senko, major. Sensei, teacher. We know sensei, right? Surely. We, the weebs of Twitch, know these words. So desu. So desu. So this is a little bit nitty, and this is just my experience with listening to the language. So when you first learn the language, right, you'll literally pronounce this so desu, so desu, and then you realize that this desu becomes des in real life. So desu is a natural pronunciation, but then some people add their own flair, and it's not even like kosei, it's not even individuality. It's just like, it's kind of like a little oomph, it's like a little bit of a thing to your language. You can be like, so desu, so desu. You can even say the u part a little bit. So it's kind of crazy, right? So in textbooks, we learn like so desu, like each kana by itself. And then in real life, we're like, oh no, this sounds hella jank. It's textbooky as hell. We should make it so desu. And then you learn it again as like, natives can sometimes say so desu. just for like a little quirkiness, it's crazy. It's mind-boggling. But so desu. Okay, so there's a difference between so desu, which is like an affirmation. So desu, it means that's right. Yes. And there's so desu ka, with rising intonation, and it makes it a question. It's like, is that right? Or is that so? But that's interesting. So desu ka, if you make it a question, can you make it like so desu ka? I guess you can also use it musingly, like, so desu ka. Like that, and it's more like rhetorical, but this is really subjective and maybe not accurate, so I don't want to say it like I know it too much. But I made the mistake of taking jin as person too literally and not as a counter. Yes, that's correct. So jin, if you guys know some kanji, it looks like, I'm trying to do this backwards, like this, that's Hairu. No, that's just Hairu. Anyway, basically, so in kanji, the Chinese characters, the complicated looking characters, the cool looking characters that everyone gets on tattoos and messes up horribly. Kanji in Japanese actually have some different readings. And I won't go too into this, don't worry. Because kanji is cancer, in a great way. It kind of grows on you. Get it? Like cancer. God, I'm so terrible. Fuck. Man. Okay, so this is actually, I read this, I was looking through this, because I was preparing for today. But yeah, so phonetic ideographic characters. So it has a phonetic reading and like a meaning reading. So the sound element is like the onyomi, and the meaning element is like... No, I misunderstood this. Anyway, basically there's two readings. There can be two or more readings of like any Japanese character or Chinese character, kanji character. I know I'm sounding flustered as hell, but like it's because I have so much information that I need to parse. But jin basically can also be read as hito, and so if you use the wrong one, you'll sound hella sus, basically. It's like Gaijin 101. So yes, back to that comment. I made the mistake of taking jin as person too literally, not just a counter, especially since Genki doesn't point it out too much. Then when I saw something like Hakujin no jin, I was confused. Yeah, that's right. Oh, fuck. I made the exact same mistake that you would have been. Hakujin no hito. Skywalters is a perfect example. Like, I instinctively read it incorrectly. Hakujin no hito. It takes the kunyomi. So yeah, it means white person. Hakujin automatically means white person, but if you say Hakujin no hito, it means that the white person. It's weird, but yeah. Not to say I was confused with hito, but seeing both at once, mine blew me. Yeah, same here. Ha, I got you. Exactly. Yeah, see, I'm fallible. I thought kunyomi was OG Japanese reading and onyomi is Chinese loanword. That's correct. As a rule of thumb, I thought of that too because like, so, kunyomi sounds like kuni. Kuni means country. So the way I remember it is like kuniyomi is like the Japanese reading, whereas the onyomi is like the borrowed reading. And most of the time, 99% of the time, onyomi is used when it's a compound word, or if you're using more than one kanji, then you take the onyomi. If it's by itself, like in Skywalter's example, so you see hakujin. Jin is actually the borrowed, the onyomi for the person. So it's hakujin because it's two kanji together. We take the Chinese pronunciation, and then no hito is by itself, so it takes the pronunciation hito. I can go back to lurking now. Yeah. Thanks for messing me up and leaving. That's kind of you. Unless the compound involves a body part or direction, then for some reason it's back to Japanese reading. I didn't know that. Thanks for teaching me that, Zieskow. Just tell me how to pronounce your name, mate. I'm so sorry. But no, that's really cool. See, I'm learning from you guys too. It's really chill. But yeah. Hopefully, like, I know some of you guys in chat are not at Genki 1 chapter 1 level, like you're beyond that, but like hopefully this will be a good VOD for those of you who don't know any Japanese from the beginning. Although I guess it won't be unless you really know hiragana, katakana, but we'll get to that bridge when we mess it. I don't even know what I'm saying. Okay, daigaku, university, college. It's weird because in Spanish, college, colegio means like high school, compared to like universidad, which is like, university. But and I don't know if it's true in Britain too, John, or the UK rather, I should say. If you use college in like a high school kind of way or not, I'm not sure. But denwa, telephone. Tomodachi, friends. If you guys have seen In-Betweeners. Namae, name. College is 16, 18 here. Uni is 18 plus. Okay, interesting. Yeah. College in the USA just means higher learning. So like 18 plus, like after secondary school, after high school. That's good to know. Namae, name. Nani, what? Of course, you guys already know the phrase like "omae wa mou shinderu." Nani? Same nani there. What? Nihon, Japan. Honyarara nensei. Nensei is like, just think of it as a suffix for counting years. So, ninensei, 2, and then counting of years. So ninensei is like sophomore. Ichinensei is freshman, like that. Ichinensei. Hi, yes. Hi and sumimasen. You just need these 2 words and then you can go to Japan and visit. Han. Han, okay. Fuck, I thought they were introducing this Han as like san. I was like, wow, that's intense. But no, it means half. Like nijihan, nijihan. Half past 2. Bango, bango is number. Ryugakusei, ryugakusei, international student. Watashi, watashi, I. For reference, since I've been looking around you a bunch, my level is Genki 1 plus Scattershot across Genki 2. Very good. I learned Genki 1, Genki 2 in college, in uni. And I have a pretty good grasp of them. And so Genki, after you're done with Genki 2, you're around N4 level comfortably. And if you push yourself just a little bit past that, you could probably pass N3 as well, depending if you keep up with your studies and, have the information on hand. And then I'm gifted with languages. I have the gift of languages. It's pretty shite, because nowadays everything is so integrated, like with AI based, like, Google Translate or DeepL for translation. So it's kind of like a lame gift, but I really like languages. My brother's good with like fucking firmware. I wish I had his gift, at least that way you can monetize it. But, anyway. What I was gonna say is, like, I like languages, so I made a lot of Japanese friends, and I'm kind of outgoing as a person, so it was easy. And when you make Japanese friends, then you pick up more stuff, right? Naturally. So I highly encourage that. If you truly want to learn this language, become friends with a Japanese speaker. And that does not mean harass people until they're your friends. If they're a Japanese native speaker, find someone you'd actually want to be friends with, and then befriend them. And then don't insist that they speak Japanese with you, but, like, just kind of be like, hey, hajimemashite. Ha, we're integrating language we've already learned. Hajimemashite. And then be like, hey, let's learn together. America is USA. Americans say America like that, but I know some South American, North American people, like Mexican people, for example, my friends, they don't like that in Spanish, because it's not the USA is not all of America. It's pretty, USA centric idea, but even in Japan, the word for USA is America. So I think interpreters can still make bank. Yeah, but the level of interpretation and expectations required are gone up hella. It's insane. I stopped in because I've never seen Genki books before. It's so odd to me. I'm happy I front-loaded learning kanji first. It's so helpful when tying word meaning, and picking up new words. In my opinion. Oh man, that's John Collin right there for you. ZS. I'm gonna call you Z. If you are against that, please tell me what to call you. But yeah, that's exactly what John Collin's been doing. He did the Heisig method. I hate the Heisig method, and I'm not adding John Collin for that, or anyone that's used the Heisig method. It's just so difficult for me. It's not my learning style. I like learning with real world examples and like real time, like assimilation of information. But learning the characters and what they mean are absolutely a beautiful start. If you can do it. I can't do it, so I don't do it. But I definitely don't mock or look down on anyone that does do it. Not Heisig method. Yeah, not Heisig methods. Heisig order and keywords, but lazy kanji method. Sorry, John Collin. I didn't mean to offend. Heisig order and keywords, but lazy kanji method. Perfect. Okay. Australia. Hankoku, Korea. Sweden. Chugoku, China. Majors, this is pretty cool because I forget most of these, but like kagaku means science. This is used as like even like a suffix word, so it's like anything to do with the sciences will have kagaku at the end of it because it literally means science. So we'll see that later on, I think. But Asia Kenkyu. Fun fact: this is such a lame admittance here, but like I hate katakana. Like I'm so bad at reading katakana. In terms of like speed wise, like I can read it, but like it takes me like twice as long as hiragana for me. Asia Kenkyu, so I'm kind of cheating by reading the Romaji, which I specifically said not to do, but Asian studies. Hey, it's my minor. Keizai, economics. Kokusai kanke. Kokusai kanke is like a double word. So kokusai just means international, and kanke is like literally relationship, so international relations. Computer, computer. You can also add this with kagaku to make it literally computer science. Computer kagaku, perfectly normal. O genki desu ka? Zogi zogi, bienvenue. Genki desu. Sochira wa genki desu ka? So in Japanese, do they have a voice versus voiceless contrast? Yes, if I'm understanding the question correctly. I think it's up here. So remember the page number 39? Okay. Here we go. No, this is katakana. Forget katakana. Wait 1 second. It should have the same thing over here. Okay, here. Yes. Here the voiced, not all sounds, because remember hiragana is a vowel consonant pairing, but some of them do. So ka becomes ga and related. Sa becomes za. Ta becomes da. Ha becomes ba or pa. And those are all the ones that have voiced elements. We don't really see this zu very much, but it does exist in some annoying words like I'm blanking. Some freaking verbs that are really common that are super important. Kizuku is like to notice. I think it uses the too. It's really annoying. But yes, there are voiced versus unvoiced sounds. I did not study linguistics, believe it or not. So these kinds of questions can throw me off. So I forgive me if I don't answer them to your liking, or but I do my best. Okay. Occupation, shigoto, isha. And normally isha by itself is like kind of formal or informal. Normally add an honorific o, which just makes it a little bit more formal. Say oisha, and then you add san, oisha-san. Pretty nice way of referring to a doctor. Give them that respect. I think I only read katakana fast once I actually recognize the word. That's right. Yeah, but then you're not really reading, right? Your brain's just reading the first syllable, like the first kana, and then like auto-correcting. It's not truly reading. Not to be pedantic, but because I'm trying to learn Korean and all the stops are fucking me up. Yeah. I had a Korean dude live with me in high school, like an exchange student, and I never took the opportunity to learn except for the curse words. Looking at Yu-Yo. After Genki 1, since I wasn't in college, I forgot basically all those words instantly except for Rekishi. Rekishi is slightly more useful. Yeah, the word for history is pretty useful. What's Genki 1? This is Genki 1, Zogi. If you use the exclamation, there's some tags at the bottom. Exclam Genkitext. You can use the textbook that we're using. It's a pretty common textbook to use to learn Japanese, beginner Japanese. There are 2 editions. There are 2 textbooks, Genki Volume 1 and Genki Volume 2, and there are 2 accompanying workbooks, also which I have links for. I haven't made the tags for the Genki 2 workbook and textbook yet, but Genkitext, perfect. And if you type in Genkiwork, it'll be the workbook too. Because in Korean they don't have voicing, but they have some weird shit I can't pronounce. Yeah. I've heard of that. I'm fucked. Like generally, miss me with that. Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry, not really reading, just recognizing shape. Yeah. Sorry, I'm also sorry. I'm not trying to be pedantic, but I do that with kanji. Believe it or not, I recognize the feeling and like the looks of the kanji intuitively, and then I'll say it, and then it's the wrong kanji 100% of the time, and I feel like an idiot every time. Like I can't think of a good example, but okay, here's a fun one. So these are all the occupations: shigoto, isha, kaishain, which John Collin knows the kanji for. Kaishain, kokousei. Kokousei is not really an occupation, but in the terms of this textbook, it's going to come up a lot. Shufu, we can see some nice old misogyny / sexism. Shufu means housewife. Oh, fun fact. This is fu. Is the kana, in Romaji it's fu, right? Fu. The fu sound in Japanese is like blowing out a candle. It's very light. It's not like a trick candle. It's like a normal candle. So it should be like shufu, shufu, hu, hu, hu. Almost like you're whistling, but not even close. Like just shufu. It's very light. It's not like shufu or anything like that. Shufu. It's like almost like a little exhale. Zogi, not necessarily the best textbook, but the most common. Often when looking for a new tutor to explain how much you know, you can be like, I'm Genki chapter 8, and most will instantly know what you know. That's right. Nihon is one of the... honjitsu. Honjitsu is one I read wrong a lot of the times. Yeah, that's right. I also instinctively read it as Nihon, but it's Honjitsu, which means today, but formally. Instead of Kyo, you can say Honjitsu. Zaki, my one teacher has some freaking photographic memory for remembering what's in each lesson in Genki 1 and Genki 2. My teacher was that way too. Not my tutor, but my actual Japanese teacher. Oh man, he could pinpoint like what lesson and like what part of the textbook from the lesson. It's incredible. Is there a male version of Shifu? Not that I can think of. Not that I can think of. Shufu is like a borrowed word too, I'm pretty sure. Like it's definitely got kanji. It's definitely like from China too, I think. I'm pretty sure, but I don't know. Please don't quote me. Daigaku-insei. Please make sure that you understand that this is not daigakusei, but daigaku-insei, which makes it graduate student. Daigakusei, normal college student or uni student. Bengoshi. I fucked up. Sorry, it's not bengoshi, it's bengoshi. Bengoshi. There's no u to make the go sound longer. Bengoshi. Lawyer. Okasan, mother. Otosan, father. One-san, older sister. Oni-san, older brother. Okay, but so these are correct. But you would, when talking about your own Oni-san or Oni-san, it changes to ane and ani. But that's again when we get to like family matters. I think it's like chapter 4. We'll figure that out. Imoto is one of my favorite words in Japanese because it's so fun to pronounce. Imoto means younger sister. Ototo means younger brother. Perfect. And of course, these words, they're like they hit close to heart, right? Everyone has a word for mother, father in any language, right? So they change too, depending on regions. I'm most familiar with Kansai-ben because every time I've been to Japan, I've been to Osaka area, and most of my Japanese friends are from that area. But in Kansai-ben, okasan becomes okan, and oton. And so those are fun, iterations. Genki text, perfect. You only have tome 1 meaning like book 1. That I've made links for. I have all 4 links in my Discord if you want to check that out. But I'll make links for them as we get to them in lessons too. But it's literally the first chapter that we're doing today. So like I couldn't be bothered to make the whole things, and I didn't want it to be confusing between which textbook people grabbed if they needed them. I studied the ancient tomes of Genki. Yeah. Okay, so now we get to the fun part. Bunpo grammar, with ridiculous stylistic font here. Grammar. All right, our first. So I've said this on many people's streams. John has heard me say this, or read me type this instead of heard me say this. Read me type this many times. But Japanese grammar is one of my favorite grammar things to study because it's very modular. You can kind of like parse stuff pretty easily, and I really like that. So and I also like how they're described in Genki. They're like introduced very nicely, very modularly throughout the different chapters, and it really makes it cool. But so our first grammatical construction is X wa y desu. X wa y desu. It's 12:30. I am a student. My major is the Japanese language. These sentences will all be translated into Japanese using appropriate noun in the word desu. 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 So this means, this little squiggly line tilde thing means whatever preceding it and then followed by desu. In Japanese, if you want to use an antiquated term, honyarara. Honyarara means whatever comes before and then desu. Honyarara. Or nani nani. Nani nani is the more common modern term for it. But if you use these kinds of words, these little garnishes to your language, if, for example, you'll sound hella fluent, I promise. So, nani nani desu or honyarara desu. It is. So, 12時半です. We remember that from Takashi telling Mary what time it was. 12時半です is 12:30. Des is not a verb, by the way. It's like a predicate ending. Think of it like that. Please don't think of des as a verb. It'll confuse you in the future. Hentai recommendations is not... naruhodo ne. Oh, nani nani. Okay. I don't know if I should actually say this on stream or not. First of all, Yo-Yo Gam, that's not a real thing. Just for those watching the VOD, please don't think me of a hentai yaro, kuso yaro. I don't have that. Nani nani is great. But yeah, I'll save the other and pretty not good tidbit for later. Okay. Juji han desu. It's 12:30. Gakusei desu. I'm a student. So, okay. So you can see this in parentheses. It, I, my major. Probably for this reason, like the way they're introducing it, they don't want to introduce particle wa yet, but you can also often drop the subject if it's implied to be about you, or if it's just implied pretty easily. So if I say Juniji han desu, Juniji han literally means 12:30 specifically for time. So it can't be anything besides 12:30. But if you say gakusei desu, you're not talking about your dog, right? If I say gakusei desu without any context, you should assume I'm talking about me, right? And that's really common in Japanese. So if someone comes up to you and says gakusei desu, first of all, it wouldn't make sense. But if someone says like gakusei desu ka to you, they're asking if you're a student, not if you know a student. I don't know why I'm specifying. I just thought I'd make sure. Tome is volume in French. Yeah. We have this word in English, but it's super archaic. That's true. Battle porridge. It's like tome is like a battle tome, like to do with like alchemy and magics. Yeah. John Cole, I noticed on your stream VOD you seem to be going through the Tongo N5 deck. Can I ask how many months in you are? Okay, I'll leave that to you guys. So, Nihongo desu. So if you just say Nihongo desu to someone on the street, they will not imply that your major is the Japanese language. That's something I don't like about this example. They'll just hear, it's like going up to someone saying Japanese. It's Japanese. Like, what's Japanese, my dude? You have to say Senko. And that's where they're introduced this. Note that some of these sentences has a subject, like it, I, and my major, found in their English counterparts. Sentences without subjects are very common in Japanese. Japanese speakers actually tend to omit subjects whenever they think it's clear to the listener who or what they're referring to. Perfect. I didn't have to explain this beforehand. Fuck. What we do then, when it is not clear, what are we to do then when it is not clear about what is being talked about or who it's being talked about? To make explicit what we are talking about, we can say, Nani nani wa Nihongo desu. Like blank is the Japanese language, where blank stands for the thing that is being talked about, or the topic, which is later in the sentence identified as Nihongo. For example, Senko wa Nihongo desu. Senko wa Nihongo desu. So literally this is the particle wa. And Fun Frog Mia, MIA. Cheers for the follow, mate. Welcome. Welcome. So the thing preceding the wa is the subject of the sentence. So wa is called a subject marker or a topic marker. So it's like, in English we could say my major is the Japanese language, or major is the Japanese language. But the literal translation to kind of solidify this in your mind, for those of you not familiar with particles, it would be, as for my major, senko wa, as for my major, it's Japanese. As for my major, it's Japanese. Of course, you wouldn't say that because it's two sentences and super unnatural, but that's the feeling you should get from particle wa. And we'll do like separate particles like a lot in the future. Particles are so important in Japanese. But so if nani means what, can you use nani like what in English? No, you may not. You may not use it like that. This is specifically a fixed phrase, meaning, blank is like that. So something is nani mono, not nani. Yeah. Something is nanimono, right? Where it becomes like literally what thing becomes something. Nanimono nanda, omae wa. You can also use it as like a fighting word. It's like, who do you think you are? Omae wa nani-sama da? Oh, that gets complicated, but unlucky. Yeah, I mean, you can start a trend. You can try to make it fetch, but I don't recommend it. Okay, similarly, one can use the pattern x wa y desu to identify a person or a thing X as item Y. So, watashi wa sukimu desu. As for me, right? As for me, watashi wa, as for me, I'm Sukimu. My name is Sukim. I am Sukim. So you use it for specifying stuff. Yamashita-san wa sensei desu. Mr. Yamashita is a sensei. Fuck my life. Is a teacher. But literally, how I want you guys to think about it, if you can, is like, as for Mr. Yamashita, he's a teacher. That's the best way to think about it, so particle wa doesn't get confusing in the future. And that's how we'll phrase particles in the future. It'll make it a lot easier. Fetch, good reference. Yeah, Mean Girls. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but it's culture. TM. Meari-san wa Amerika-jin desu. As for Mary, she's American. Wa is a member of the class of words called particles. Hey! So is the word no. which we will return to later in this lesson. Yes. Particles attach themselves to phrases to indicate how the phrases relate to the rest of the sentence. This is amazing. If only we had this if only we had this so descriptively like written out for us in English. English would be a lot easier for non-native speakers. Note also Note also sounds like gakusei. What? I can't read this. Note also that sounds... Oh, fuck. Wow, I missed this that, and therefore I am barely an English native speaker. Note also that nouns like gakusei and sensei in the above examples stand alone, unlike their English translations of student and teacher, which are preceded by a, like a teacher, a student. In Japanese, there are no items that can correspond to a, nor is there any item that corresponds to the plural s at the end of a noun. So that's a good thing to note. I forgot about the a bit. It feels pretty intuitive after you learn the language, but in general, this is the stuff that can differentiate you from weebs. But stuff is already plural, or not plural. It's like Schrodinger's plurality in Japanese. So if I say like hon ga arimasu, it can be one book, it can be 10 books. That's kind of a shite example because normally you would specify how many books, but okay, for example, in English we'd add s or es, right? So we can say like teachers, right? But we don't say senseis or anything like that in Japanese. You can say like sensei tachi, but basically plurality is like not really important in Japanese. Same with the future tense that will come when we get verbs, but yes. Okay. Will you make lessons regularly? Yeah, I'll make them once a week. Or I might make them twice a week. Right now I'm doing it because it's my first time doing it. I'm going to do all of lesson chapter 1, so I might get a little bit longer in the textbook and all of chapter 1 in the workbook. But in the future, I'll make it where I'll do the whole chapter in the textbook, and then later on in the week, I'll do all the workbook exercises. So those of you who actually want to learn the language, have a whole week to do the textbook, the workbook exercises before we go over them together, is my feeling. And I can also make like supplemental lessons like based on topics that you guys want to hear about, and I can research about and present to you guys too, because I really like Japanese and it sounds fun to me. John Collins, 6 months, and I can understand JLPT and 3 test questions quite well, so I'm taking that as a win. LOL. It's a pretty cool process as long as you can have fun with it and not stress too much. Yeah, I like that idea. I explained garden path sentences to my one teacher to show her how bad English can get without particles. I used a real example of the old man in the ship. Yeah. Poo mana mana, rating with a party of 1. Cheers for that, mate. I really appreciate all you one of you guys. It's like an inside joke. I love it every time. Does that mean it's harder to make garden path sentence in Japanese? What's garden path sentences? I don't know what those are. Garden path sentences. Have you seen the Japanese sentence about the cat eating the fish? Oh, you guys are like above my head. Like, I'd love to know what you guys are talking about. Okay, so basically, the last 2 minutes of my rambling and reading chat can be summed down into plurality does not exist in Japanese in terms of like nouns don't have an s or an es ending or anything like that, or anything equivalent to that. If you want to specify how many of a noun there are, you'd use like a different grammatical construction like takusan, or a number, like a counter, like 4 books. Like you can specify that too, but in general there's not plurality. It's important to know that. Question sentences. It's very easy to form questions in Japanese. Basically all you need to do is add ka at the end of a statement. For example, from our previous dialogue between Mary and Takeshi, Takeshi asked Mary, ryugakusei desu ka? Ryugakusei desu ka? Which means, this is this part. Are you an international student? As opposed to just saying, ryugakusei desu. So for example, if someone were to ask you, ryugakusei desu ka? With a raising pitch, you can hear it as a question. Are you an international student? You can actually say, ryugakusei desu, or hai, ryugakusei desu. And the difference is they asked you a question, but you can use that same thing without the ka, and it becomes a statement. Okay. It's where the beginning of the sentence leads you down the wrong path and the end of the sentence resolves it. I'm sure there's a technical definition, but it's why the sentence misleads you by being unclear. The old man The ship. The old man's the ship. The old man the ship. Ah, okay. The old man the ship. Man's the verb, but you don't have clock that until the end of the sentence. Yeah. I heard nuns don't have an ass. Nuns don't have an ass. Nuns don't have an ass. How is that misleading? Nuns don't have... Oh, my, when you heard me say it out loud. Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. Please, I sometimes mumble, so if anything's unclear, please specify that to me, and I will do my best to reiterate. So you start by parsing the old man, and then the rest of the sentence doesn't make sense, so you go back over it and reinterpret the beginning. Okay, I understand now. And that's called garden path? I see. What is that? 顔が赤い魚を食べた猫? Ah, 顔が赤い魚を食べた猫. Yeah, so basically, the way I translated that in my mind, if I even read the kanji correctly, is the cat that ate the red-faced fish. Red-faced fish. But yeah, I guess I can make... Yeah, it's difficult. That's a pretty advanced topic, but yeah, Japanese can definitely... like, Moo Balls give a perfect example of that. Like... Japanese is great in modular, like I expressed before, but you can make a whole bunch of different constructs and then put like the subject after it. So it's like the subject that did all of these things, and you wouldn't know what the subject is until you read the whole sentence. So yeah, it does have garden path things, garden path sentences, if that's what you're wondering. I'm sorry, I kind of lost the scope of the question. People hear the old man, the ship, as two sentences, the old man and the ship, but man is a verb, right? Never mind. Sorry for trying to be funny. Oh, no, you're great. You're great. I appreciate you. I really do. Garden path, because it meanders like a path in a garden instead of straight line like a real path. That makes sense. Now I understand. Thanks, guys. I'm learning so much. Okay, yeah, this is important too. So, the above sentence, 留学生ですか? is a yes-no question. Question sentences may also contain a question word like nan. Like nan, like we learned nan and nani are like what, basically. So like nani jin desu ka? What's your ethnicity and stuff like that. And that can be a question word. If you hear like nani jin, if you see those two kanji together, nani and then jin together, you know it can be a question's coming. It's like seeing the upside down question mark in Spanish. You know that it's a questioning sentence kind of thing. In this lesson, we learn how to ask and to answer questions using the following question words: nanji, nansai, nannensei. So remember that we learned nani nani ji means time, nani nani sai means age, nani nani nensei means year in school. So sai, time, and ethnicity, and language, and we have a lot of constructs like that. So if we add those with nani, we can make a question about them. Pretty cool, right? So like, senkou wa, as for your major, nan desu ka? Nan desu ka? What is it? So if someone asks you senkou wa nan desu ka, you don't actually have to answer with senkou wa, because the question was about your senkou, so you wouldn't just like randomly change the topic like a dick, would you? No. So you can just say eigo desu, which is English. My major, which is implied, is English. It is not customary to write a question mark at the end of a question sentence in Japanese. That's correct. They use ka. Question marks aren't necessary, but like aren't super horrible either. But yes, in like essays and stuff, don't use question marks like that. The Japanese question word for what has two pronunciations, nan and nani. Nan is used immediately before des, or before a counter like ji, like nanji. The other form, nani, is used before a particle. Oh. The textbook is saying it, so I can't argue with it, but I think specifically for jin, like if you're asking ethnicity, it's nani jin versus nanjin. I think it's nani jin. But yeah, anyway, in general, this is cool to know. Nan is used immediately before des or a counter like ji. But jin isn't a counter, it's a ethnicity thing. You can say like nanhito, maika. The other form, nani, is used before a particle. Nani is also used in the combination... Oh, fuck. Okay. Nani-jin. Perfect. Hey! Ta-da! If only I read further, I would know this. The more you know .gif. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so... Ima. This is cool too. This could be a little bit complicated, and it will definitely be reiterated later. But after ima, You don't use the particle wa. So ima nanji desu ka? Right now, now. You'd actually even put a comma here too sometimes. Ima nanji desu ka? What time is it now? Kuji desu. Kuji desu. It's 9 o'clock. Meari-san wa nansai desu ka? Remember, not nanisai, but nansai. Meari-san wa nansai desu ka? 19 sai desu. 19 sai desu. I'm 19. Nan nensei desu ka? What year are you? 2年生です. I'm a sophomore. Second year. 電話番号は何ですか? So this question is, what is your telephone number? And this, another point I want to make about the Japanese language is that it's highly context based. So 電話番号 wa literally means like, as for a phone number, what is it? So this question could literally mean, what is a phone number? But generally people won't ask what is a phone number, because generally people have an idea of what a phone number is, right? So they're clearly asking about your phone number. 電話番号は何ですか? So what is your phone number? 186の 186 no, particle no here is used as like a dash, a hyphen in English. 186の7343 7343です. And there are different, I think numbers are also introduced in chapter 1, but 7 and 7, 7 and 7, so the number 7 has two pronunciation, number 4 has two pronunciation, famously. So like 7 can also be 7, 4 and she are both 4. She is the less good one because it can mean death if you're superstitious like that. But hi Creakers, how are you? Okay. What's the counter? Very good question. Sky says words like jin, sai, tsu, wa, and other things that are attached to a number to indicate what you're counting. That's right. So you can say like, you know how in English we'd say one, we can say piece of paper, but we also have the word like sheet of paper, one sheet of paper, one box of chocolates. Similarly, they have that in Japanese too. Why is there no wa after ima as an exception? Are there others? Very good question, Pumanamana. So ima, and so timings where you have like, so ima is a time word, right? It literally means now. Where it's not necessary, like when the action is like super obvious of when it's occurring, you don't need wa after it. It's kind of a niche rule. So ima, kino, kyo, ashita, asatte. None of these need a wa afterwards. It's about time phrase. But we'll get into that later. But it's a good question. Thank you for it. What's the difference between nana and shichi? Shichi is like Chinese pronunciation. Shichi tiyuka. Yeah. I've it's a good question. There's no real difference. Most, like 99% of the time you can use either or of them. And I don't know about the 1%. I can't remember the 1% of the time. Although I did learn it once for trivia's sake, but I've forgotten it. But good question. I'm alive. I'm glad to hear it, Creakers. But when would you use each one? Yeah, sorry, I'm not sure. So you'd use like, sometimes when the word is like difficult to pronounce, so like shichiji han might be harder to pronounce than nanaji han. Nanagetsu, nanagatsu, shichigetsu, shichigetsu, shichigatsu, shinichi, jushichi, jushichi-sai. Jushichi-sai is kind of weird, so you use junanasai, but that's like colloquial. Those aren't actual rules. Z says, sometimes it's one, sometimes it's either, and sometimes they're interchangeable. They're basically set phrases and you'll learn them as you go. That's good. Yeah. I guess the same for shi and yon. Yeah, but yon and shi have some different rules. Like, you can't... Oh, can you say shigatsu? Yeah, you can say shigatsu. You absolutely can, sorry. But there are some rules where you can only use one and not the other. But it's mostly the same. It's mostly the same as those, yeah. Like nanahun, shichipun. Yeah, that's good. That's a good point, Z. Like nana, if you say like 7 minutes, you normally only ever hear it as nanahun, not shichipun. Yeah. And like shichiju, I don't think I've ever heard either. So for 70, the number 70, you normally hear it as nanaju, 70. So nanaju, 7 and 10. Nanaju, you don't hear it as shichiju. Or shiju for yon as well. So it'd be yonju, not shiju, I've never heard. So I guess for some counting methods too. But like I said, I couldn't think of any examples off the top of my head. Z provided a beautiful one, but oftentimes you can hear it from like As you interact more with the Japanese language, with people, with media, then you can kind of like, what have I never ever heard before? What sounds strange? And that's how I'd explain it too. Is there one that is more in general? Like if I don't want to make a mistake, is there a safer choice? Nana is pretty safe. Nana is pretty safe. Same with Yong. Yong. But yeah, okay, so we'll skip over these. So here's another one. So the first one that we learned was X wa y desu. The second one is question sentences. So particle ka at the end of a sentence. Particle, I guess it's called a particle, but it's like question marker ka is a better way of saying it. And now we're on to noun 1, no, noun 2. No is a particle that we're learning. Perfect. No is a particle that connects two nouns. Fake ne, mint. We get it straight up. The phrase Sakura Daigaku no gakusei means a student at Sakura Daigaku, Sakura University. The second noun, gakusei, provides the main idea. So the first noun, Sakura Daigaku, means Sakura University. Gakusei is another noun. The way we link nouns is with particle no. So in English we have this too, like, I'm a student. Oh, what kind of student are you? I am a student of Sakura University. So similarly, this kind of trips up English speakers because it's opposite order. But it's like, I'm a Sakura University student instead of University of Sakura. I'm a student of or at Sakura Daigaku. But that's like a kink that's ironed out in time as you practice. But yeah, the second noun gakusei provides the main idea, being the student, and the first one, Sakura Daigaku, makes it more specific. So it's like combining two nouns, using a noun to modify another noun. No is very versatile. It's true. In the first example below, it acts as like the possessive X and then apostrophe S in English, but that is not the only role no can play. Wow, they're going ham. See how it connects two nouns in the following examples. Takeshi-san no denwa bango. Takeshi-san no denwa bango. So it's not Takeshi-san wa, it's Takeshi-san no denwa bango. So if we see this, we know Takeshi-san, but it's the second noun that's the main idea. So it's denwa bango. So we have telephone number. What telephone number? Takeshi-san no denwa bango. Takeshi-san no denwa bango. So it's Takeshi's phone number. Sorry, I've been talking a lot. I'm going to take a sip of some sparkling water. Please forgive me. Okay. Chatting up the chat. Do they say mint in America? They definitely don't. I'm totally, taking that from everywhere. I've been watching a lot of show called Taskmaster recently. Great British. I just really like variety shows, I guess. So I've been picking up some slang recently. No is a particle which you'll think you'll understand for a while until you realize you still don't get it after all. That's the thing. I can really not understate the importance of particles. So everyone's like, oh, kanji, oh, keigo, oh, all these weird things. But like, no, it's really particles. Particles make up so much of the Japanese language. One particle can change the meaning entirely. Particles are like the unsung heroes of the Japanese language. And it's fucking hilarious when you use casual speech with your friends and you drop all particles and it gets kind of hectic sometimes and there are misunderstandings and some people cry sometimes and I don't want to talk about it. Okay, mom. Anyway. Yes, very good. Nemo's bit. Hikaru no go. The go of Hikaru. The go belonging to Hikaru. Hydrate. Thanks, Nesbit. Taskmaster is awesome. Yes, I'm happy you've seen it, John Cullen. John, sorry. So if you put wa in front of Takeshi's, does it mean something else? Like you're emphasizing on Takeshi? That's a good question. So if I say Takeshi-san wa no denwa bango and use wa and no, it makes no sense. There's no reason, because, okay, here's the thing. Wa is a topic marker, right? It's a subject marker. If we were to say Takeshi-san wa no denwa bango, it's super, first of all, it's pretty gross to say, but if we put Takeshi-san wa, it literally means the sentence is going to be about Takeshi. Or at least it's going to be, Takeshi is the main part of the sentence. But it's not. The main part is the denwa bango. The second noun provides the main idea. So we're putting emphasis on this thing. And we're modifying it, right? If I just say denwa bango, we don't know whose phone number or what phone number. So we're modifying what we're talking about with Takeshi-san. And because they're both nouns, we link them with the particle no. It's a bit confusing. I 100% understand that, but it's really, really important. So we can just remember that the second noun, or the last noun, because you can use no many times, but we'll get into that later, gives the main idea. So we say sensei. We should read it kind of backwards if you're an English speaker. Sensei. So we know that the main idea is teacher, and now we have to modify teacher. What kind of teacher? Daigaku no sensei. A university teacher. Remember, these are both nouns, and they're being linked with no. What's keigo? Zogi zogi. Keigo is formal speech. In Japanese, there's casual speech and there's formal speech. And formal speech is classified as keigo. There's different parts of keigo. Famously 3, but up to 5 or 7 depending on how you break them down. But yes. Niku wa kirai, demo sakana wa suki. That works. That's a little bit different use of wa, and that's like using 2 was in the sentence because you're showing contrast between the 2 was, and we'll get to that later. But yes, niku wa kirai, demo sakana wa suki. Yes, that works. Yes. So could you say denwa bango wa Takeshi-san no desu? Yes, you could. It's very weird and consequently advanced because it comes up later. But you can say like, as for the... Yeah, okay. Let me put it in a sentence. No, it makes sense. You just have to use the right context. Japanese is also highly about context. So if you're saying denwa bango wa Takeshi-san no desu. So I would say like it's just a weird way of phrasing. But if I say like dare means who. Dare no denwa bango desu ka? Whose phone number is it? Denwa bango wa Takeshi-san no desu. Literally means like, as for the phone number, it's Takeshi's. But you can also just say it more simply with fewer words by saying Takeshi-san no denwa bango desu. Is the easier way of saying it. But Battle Porch, technically you're not wrong, and it's a very real Japanese configuration. It's just a little bit more passive and confusing and a lot more words than it needs to be. Formal, not polite. Honorific, I think formal is something else. Honorific. So I classify as formal when I'm teaching in English. Not that I've taught in different languages, but the reason I use formal is because there's different levels of formality. Honorific is like sonkeigo, but kenjogo isn't really honorific in that mind in English anyway. It's like you're putting it's humility, so it's still formal speech, but it's not honorific speech. 3 levels of formality is an idea of thinking of it. Yeah. So because we've already talked about it a little bit, zogi keigo can be broadly specified into 3 main categories. One is sonkeigo. Sonkeigo means you're elevating the listener. So you're putting the listener above you by elevating them. So we're imagining this. You're putting the listener above you. Sonkeigo. Then there's tenego. It's just like a casual Hawking radiation version of formality. Like it's just common decency, like common politeness. And then there's kenjogo. Okay, so in this first one, sonkeigo, my right hand went up, but in kenjogo, my left hand's going down. So the end position's kind of similar, but you're not putting someone above, you're putting yourself below. It's like a humility, humble speech. And the set phrase itadakimasu comes from kenjogo of morau. But anyway, that's definitely Genki 2, and definitely in the bowels of Genki 2 as well. It's like, I think, second part of Genki 2. But technically you're not wrong. It's a good way of thinking about rearrangeability of Japanese sentences. Yeah, no, absolutely correct. Can you put the listener below you? No. That's not very Japanese of you to even think. But you can talk down to a listener, yes. But, okay, the way you put the listener below you or put yourself on equal but like not formal setting with the listeners by using tameguchi, which means like friend talk, friend mouth, which is like just casual speech. And then if you really want to put the listener below you, you can use like commands of stuff, like command forms of verbs, and like it's like kind of demeaning in a way. So komigas shine. Gomikas? Oh, you switched the K and the G there, bud. It's gomikas, not komigas. Komikas shine. It's funny. Okay, pushing the other up or yourself down is not the same. Yeah, but it looks the same, right? the relative position is the same. But yeah, I 100% agree with you. But like if I show you this example, one is elevating yourself, one is elevating your listener, and one is putting yourself down. Either way, it's like, the difference. But yeah, anyway, that's a brief insight into the future. これ何?これはね、俺っていうか私の初めての日本語ストリームです。日本語生配信です。日本語を教える生配信です。It's my first Japanese teaching screen. I didn't want to swear in chat. It's good. You shouldn't swear in chat. And you shouldn't make me say it out loud either. Fucker. Okay, so 先生. What kind of sensei? 大学先生. 大学の先生. What kind of 学生? 日本語の学生. What kind of 大学? 日本の大学. I cannot stress enough how important it is that you understand that no links nouns together. You cannot use it for adjectives and verbs. It's only used for nouns like this, in this way. Are you fluent in Japanese? You seem to be. That's a good question, Zoggy. Are we ever really fluent in anything? But I can comfortably live my life in Japan, daily life, in conversation. I can't do taxes in Japanese. I can probably get by with a doctor's visit. I can't read a prescription. I can't read a pay stub. But yeah, depends. He's about N3 level. I'm N3 in reading, writing. I'm about N2 in speaking and listening comprehension. People usually say conversational. Yeah, I'm conversationally fluent. I thought that no means no, but it's your stream. No means no. Don't mess with that. Please don't bring a topic of consent and joke about it. It's really important. Nihongo no benkyou kai. That's right. It's a Japanese learning sesh. Even native speakers can't do all of that, to be honest. Yeah, fluent enough. That's true. I can't do taxes and shit and even English. Okay, but not because you don't understand the words, just because you don't understand the concept, right? Like, or not concept, but inner workings. I agree, but like, they can at least read the form. I can't read the form. Oh, it's so crap. I've applied to so many Japanese jobs in America, which are mostly like manufacturing, in terms of like the business side of manufacturing and stuff like that. And like, oh my God, the interviews are always so killer. I've done interviews in Japanese. I can do a Japanese interview. And once I was flown out for an interview for a Japanese travel agency in America, of all places. And then the form they had me write was purely in Japanese. And it took me and I had like 6 minutes to fill it out. And there was a Japanese person in the room with me. I couldn't do it. I couldn't even read the kanji in the question. It's so shit. It took me like 2 minutes out of my 6 minutes to realize that it was asking for jiko shokai at the end. And my jiko shokai was like a child's level jiko shokai. So conversationally fluent is like, it's really cool to a non-native speaker, but really it's like a middle school levels of conversation ability. It's not really amazing, but oh my God, tax evasion. What? Yeah, I mean, hey, if I can't read it, it's not on me, right? It's on you. Would you recommend the Genki textbooks? Yeah, absolutely. And we have a link to them too. If you join the Discord, you can find all of them. But I created quick links for them: Genkitext and Genkiwork, and they should be in the stream title somewhere, and you can view and download them from there, I think. Ksa. Okay, so Nezmit used ksa. It is the kanji for grass, but it also means LOL. And nowadays, most people use the English letter W because it looks like grass. So it's like WWWW is like blades of grass. So it's like it means LOL. Exactly like this. And then if you really want to show off to people, you can type this. And then you really seem fluent is this. Dai Solgen, which is like a big plane. It's like Omega Lol, basically. But like kind of old-fashioned nowadays. But it's like the upgraded version of just the grass. It's like a big grassy field. That's how much. Yeah, show off. That's right. You came to me. You came into my Japanese education stream and tried to at me with your ksa. I have a few 1st to 8th grade comprehension books from Japan. A Japanese friend gave them to me, but I have no idea what to do with them other than just try to read. Yeah, it sounds like the swear word so. It's written with K-U-S-O because it's ku and so. Remember, Japanese is consonant vowel pairing. And for reading, I prefer LNs. LNs. Daisolgen. That's right. Oh, that's why Game Grammar has grass kanji emote. I thought... Never mind. Ah, yes. No, not that grass, John Cullen. That's right. What's N5 to N1? So, Zoggy. Most people that want to learn Japanese will be familiar with the JLPT exam. I think it's like non-native Japanese learning thing exam. And there's 5 levels. N5 is the most basic, and N1 is like fluent as like a native speaker level fluent, like that fluent, like reading, writing, everything. Even some native speakers can't answer the questions super easily. And so in Japanese it's called the Nihongo Noryoku Shiken. Shiken means test, Noryoku means ability, so Japanese ability test. So I forgot that slang. Yeah. Go Gooplet, nerd. Hey, nerd. Goop, if you come to learn Nihongo, it means JLPT. Yeah. Goop's learning Nihongo so she could stream in even Japanese. The world isn't ready. But okay, so this is important because it's our first real grammar besides X, Y, this. So further restriction, I don't know what that means. A phrase of the form noun 1, no, noun 2 acts more or less like one big noun. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, good job, textbook. You know what you're talking about. You can put it wherever you can put a noun, as in the following example. Takeshi-san no Takeshi-san no oka-san wa? So we're going to use a double here, and this is the English translation, but don't do that. I kind of want to explain it. So we see a no here, and we see another word here. Go pastic. Pastique. Welcome. Thanks for the follow, mate. So we see this no here, right? So we know that the second no in this no phrasing is the noun of importance. It gives the main idea. So oka-san, mother. Whose mother or what mother are we talking about? Takeshi-san no oka-san. So this by itself, one phrase, means Takeshi's mom. This no shows possession. Sensei, second noun. What kind of sensei? What kind of teacher? Koukou no sensei. So this means high school teacher. So we have Takeshi's mom and high school teacher. And now this wa shows the subject of the phrase, right? Of the sentence. So as for Takeshi's mom, she's a high school teacher. Takeshi's mother is a high school teacher. See? It's kind of like maths in a way. Which is why I really like it. Because it's really annoying at first. You know, you have to show your work and all that garbage. But when you get going with it, you can like that. You can see and understand a thing. No problem. The problem, I like talking in chats. Perfect. Takeshi-san no oka-san wa koukou no sensei desu. Perfect. Very good use of grammar. Or kanji. Very good. Need to find a munch face, please. The no is easier to understand than the apostrophe in English. Yeah. But kind of. So in English, right, we can say apostrophe S to show possession. But in Japanese, the possession is also showed by no. And the modification is also shown by no. So it just depends on your learning style. But yeah, it can show possession, it can show modification, it can show like no has so many meanings, and we'll get to them eventually, slowly but surely. Particles are the lifeblood of Japanese, remember. Nihonjin no namae. So what names? Japanese names. Namae is the main sentence, and the modification is Nihonjin, Japanese person. Nihonjin no namae. When Japanese people give their name, and this is pretty common in the West too, like we understand this now, but they say their family name first and the given name last. Middle names do not exist. When introducing themselves, they often say only their family name. Here are some typical Japanese names. So that's really important. So if you meet a Japanese person and they give you two names, use the first one. Don't use the second one. The second one is their actual name. And it's really like personal. It's like hello personal. And it's like kind of rude and like kind of really gross if you just like almost violating in a way if you just call someone by their first name without getting to know them properly and getting permission or, you know, that kind of feeling, friendship. So please don't do that. So Sato is a common family name. Suzuki, Takahashi, Tanaka, Ito, Takuya, Shota. For men, yeah. Okay. This is good. So this is the family name, and this is the given name. The given name is referred to as like it's like their person name, right? Personal name. Family name is their last name. So you can have like Sato Takuya-san, Sato Erika-san. Remember, san is gender neutral. Like it's non-specific to gender. It just means Mr. Ms. If you translate it in English, it becomes gendered, but in Japanese, it's not gendered. Okay. Oni nara. Nanika. Oni nara nanika. Oni nara nanika. Oni ni nara. Oni ni naranai nara. Korosu. Oni ni naranai ka? Ah, okay. Oni ni naranai ka? Would you, won't you become a, don't you want to become a demon? If you won't become a demon, I'll kill you. Thanks, Ed Helen. That's very kind of you. This sentence from the Mugen Train trailer is how I learned nara. That's a specific particle that we'll get into later, but I'm glad you learned it that way, Ed Helen. So we should give them a nickname in that case. Don't nickname people. You give people English nicknames casually, do you? Unless they introduce themselves with it. If I call myself Jack, you won't call me Jim, right? That'd be weird. Okay. What would that be like? Finding out someone's real name and using it in chat? I don't know if it's that violating, but it could be. I'm not Japanese, so I can't tell you the exact level, but something akin to that, maybe, probably. Yeah, that's a good idea. Good parallel, Battle Porridge. In drama, first names seem to be reserved for BFGF sometimes. Yeah, that's a good point, John. BFGF, close friends, or like, yeah, if you're close friends, you can call anyone anything. You know, you can use omae and like, you know, more rude speech, and like it's like holds barred. But like, yeah, that first kind of bubble, personal bubble, you shouldn't just casually pop it. So it's fine in general to use the family name without the proper suffix, like san. Pumanamana, like, what do you mean? No, you should still use the correct suffixes. Don't drop suffixes either. So like sato is the correct thing to say it, but you should still say sato-san, sato-kun, like that too. Even if you're above the person. So Japanese has a lot to do with hierarchy, right? So if I was a teacher to a student, I don't have to use formal speech, although they do, to, you know, because it's a professionalism thing. But even if I'm a teacher to a student, I wouldn't just break that personal bubble. I wouldn't call you by your first name. I'd still call you by your last name, your family name, and use like san at the end or kun or something like that. But I still wouldn't breach that bubble and call you by your first name. It's really, really, yeah. Were you called Satya-san? I was called Satya-san. This rule does not apply to foreigners. I have been called Satya-san most of the time, but some Japanese people will call me Shing-san. Shing is my middle name, but I use it as my last name. Sing, S-I-N-G-H in English. I have been called Shing-san, but it feels kind of good. Like, it's because, like, you know, that's what you'd call me if I were Japanese. It feels kind of like nice, but it's also could just be a force of habit because generally older people call me that, you know. I can't read that. I absolutely can't read that. Jugimu. I can read that. Oh my god, thank god I know my memes. Bad example for Japanese names. Yeah, absolutely, Ed Helen. Okay, so fun fact. I don't know most of this kanji. I just know the kanji for mu. It's the same as night. Like, arimasen, night. And so it repeats twice. So it has to be jugimu. Goko no surike. Something. Furaimatsu. Something. Burakoji no. No, what? I really love jugimu. Anyway, that's a meme for another time. But anyway, yeah. So basically, don't call people by their first name in Japanese unless they are comfortable with it. If they don't tell you they're comfortable with it, they're not comfortable with it. Don't just assume, even if you're friends, that you can do it. So yeah, please be careful. Who cares about the historical one? The Gintama one is better one meme. Yeah, Gintama one's the better meme, but it actually comes from... No, the historical one's really nice because you can learn about rakugo, which is like a Japanese storytelling art. And they even adapted it into Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. There's a scene with Scar and the dude using Jugimu, and then the whole tongue twister. Okay. Hyogen note 2. A note reference to Hyogen. Hyogen is like... Hyogen is like speech. Speech, I guess. What's the best way of saying that? Let me see. Hyogen is expression, presentation. Oh, so not speech. Hyogen. Oh, okay, I misunderstood it. Yeah. Hyogen, expression, presentation. 2. Second presenting note. So let's go into that real quick. I'm Googling it now. Sounds funny. Oh, it's amazing. And I really want to teach the language too, or tutor the language, whatever you want to call this. I really like this vibe. I want to learn Japanese on my own, but I also really want to explore like cultural stuff like rakugo or manzai or Japanese comedy shows or like variety shows, as long as they're age appropriate and, you know, like not misogynistic as fuck. Putting that lightly. Don't get me wrong, Japan has a ton of bad qualities about it too. Like, I'm not approaching this series or idea of streaming from a like Japan is perfect point of view. I want to make that very clear. So you will hear me talk badly about Japan too. As much as I praise it, I will definitely, you know, call it out too. So I would not want Japanese people using my last name. It would probably sound horrible. Yeah, I mean, that's fair too. You wouldn't be like, call me Smith, call me Johnson, call me, you know, Big Daddy. I don't know what your last names are. Did I miss the... okay, so we didn't actually talk about Emi or Warai or Egao or A, that one, becoming W, and that becoming glass. Oh, okay, so I kind of got it backwards. Ah, good to know. Okay, interesting. Yeah, you basically missed it though. Yeah. I definitely noticed while I'm learning Korean that they're sexist as fuck. Yeah, and the shitty thing is it's like inbuilt to the language too. Like culture aside, it's inbuilt into the language as well. Not that many things are like gendered or like, you know, anything like that, but like it's like I can't explain it, but when it comes up I'll definitely point it out. Nice to know it's not just Korea. That's a, you know, loose definition of nice, but yeah, it's consistent across languages and countries too, you know. Okay, so Hyogen note 2, second presentation note. Ano indicates you have some reservations about saying what you're going to say next. This kind of ties into our previous discussion about ie, which is like an outright no. You can kind of preface it / soften it with ano. It's like you're kind of like showing reservation, like I don't really want to say this, but like nah, fuck you, like that kind of feeling, but without the rudeness. Bit. Maybe it's not Japanese that are sexist. Maybe it's us who are too sensitive. No, they're definitely sexist. Not just Korean. I'm just chilling here. Well, thanks for chilling here, Battle Porridge. Okay, so hi, both hi and means yes in response to a yes/no question. Compared to hi, is more conversational and relaxed. It's more in more informal situations. Is used. Hi is also used to respond to a knock at a door or calling of one's name, meaning here, like present, as follows. Smith-san, like a roll call. Hi. Yeah, it's me. Like that. Or, fun fact, when you knock on a door, you knock twice in Japanese. 3 times is like kind of rude or insistent. So you're like kon kon, and when knocking on a door makes a kon sound, like K-O-N. Kon kon. Hi. Dozo. Haitte kudasai. Like, please come in. Hello. Like that. So desu ka. So desu ka acknowledges that you've understood what is just said. Is that so? Or I see. It's like a very active listening kind of aspect to Japanese culture where you, like in English, if we're on the phone, like we have a phone call, and the other person, like you're rambling, or you're like talking. If you're me, you're rambling, but you're on the other line, you want to hear that the person's still there. So like, oh, I see. You're like, oh, yeah, or like, oh, yeah, that sucks. Or like that kind of listening. They do that a lot in Japanese, and like in not only over the phone but in person too. So I was actually on Omelet's stream. Omelet's another Go player. I was on a stream yesterday, and like he was making a joke. He's Japanese. That Japanese people are saying, so desu ka a lot, but like have no idea what the fuck is happening. They're just saying it to like fill the space, and like they don't actually care about what's being said. So just know that too. It doesn't always mean that they're interested, but it's at least like tatemai. Tatemai is like upfront politeness. I'm covering like a lot of topics, culturally, like grammatically, and like we'll definitely dive into them as they come up more. But okay. Os. 20日. So like that's 2日and 20日and 2日 can die in a fire. Yeah, there's some annoying example, or what's it called, exemptions from examples all the time in any language. Knocks twice, no reply. Knocks third time by busting door down. Exactly. Hi can also be used if you didn't hear what someone said. Do not say huh. Yeah, okay, yes, that's a good point too, Z. So in English we say like huh, like what'd you say, like huh, what was that? If you say huh, it kind of sounds like in Japanese ha. Is like fighting words. You can kind of hear it in my voice. I'm like ha, what'd you just fucking say to me? Ha. Like yeah, definitely don't do that. It's really like, even if you do it on accident, it's like really like jarring. I think one of my favorite Japanese YouTubers called Shin-chan on YouTube made a recent video explaining this, but like it's kind of jarring. Hai can also be used as like hai,
Like, if I were to do like Oji-chan voice, like an old grandpa voice, like, hi, hi. Like, what did you say? Hi. Okay. Do you mean Aizuchi? Aw, ne. How dare you add useful context that Genki leaves out? Yeah, that's my whole point, right? I know, the fucking balls on me, the audacity of me. It took me 3 months until I could pronounce Itsutsu. My tongue would not do it. Itsutsu, yeah. Link, please? Sure. Let me give you guys the link. Otherwise, what's the difference between you learning from this by yourself, right? Let me find the link for you. YouTube.com. Shinchang. Is it this one? I think it's in this video, but it's like a lot more stuff. Okay, the reason I really like this guy is he's Japanese, but like he's not westernized. Please don't misunderstand. I'm not like a filthy colonialist or whatever, but like he's got like some really nice perspective and like especially about like LGBTQ topics that are like impossible generally for like Japanese people to react to, and he's got English. It's great. Anyway, Itsuka and Itsuka. Yeah. That's why context is important, Ed Helen. Always context. Context and particles are like the unsung heroes of Japanese language. Also the unsung villains of the Japanese language. I need to go. Thanks for the lesson, Si. I learned a lot already. Awesome, man. Hopefully the VOD won't be like freaking DMCA'd because it's classical music. But come back and learn whatever else if you need to. Or you can, you know, if you're on Discord, just at me and we can chat. Shinchan is hilarious. Exactly. Oh, I thought it was Shinchan. Shit. Yeah, Shinchan is hilarious. I agree. Traditional. Yes. Okay. So, pronunciation of ha or wa. Shit. The particle wa is pronounced wa and not ha. This is the hiragana for ha. So that's why this is their note. It should be written with ha. Other instances wa are written with wa. Watashi no denwa bango. I put emphasis on the wa not because that's the normal way of saying it, but because that's why they're underlining the wa here. But basically it's just saying only use ha as wa as a particle and no other time. Except for like these exceptions like konnichiwa, konbanwa, they're written with ha as well. I've seen some older people say konbanwa with the wa as well though, which seems backwards. Like theoretically if the language is changing, the younger people would adopt it, but lo and behold. But also it's not a massive deal, but it's kind of important. Mozart is going to haunt you from his grave. At least he won't continue decomposing like Beethoven, Kappa. God, that fucking pun. Okay. Many number words have more than one pronunciation, which is basically what Ed Hedden was doing in chat the whole time. Refer to the table at the end of this book for general picture. 0 is either zero, or re. Both are commonly used. Ichi is pronounced as I, and this is small 2, which means the next syllable, the next consonant will be heavily emphasized. I. It's like your voice stops halfway. I. Such as in ippun. Right? I know that seems comical as hell, but I'm just trying to emphasize the small 2. It's not ichifun, it's not ipun, it's ippun. And issai. It's not ichisai, it becomes issai. And of course that means context. That's contextual too. Ni, all the time. When you're reading out each digit separately, as when you give your phone number, it may be pronounced with a long vowel, such as ni. This is kind of like small details, but Sundowners 1. Cheers, mate. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Can I take a moment to crap on Duolingo for teaching Reiji for midnight? Reiji is midnight. Reiji, 0 o'clock. Reiji, is there a different word for midnight? There probably is a definition, like a different word for midnight, but I can't think of it. Sad nerd, sadid, but not for typical speech. My teacher hated me using reiji. Ishoni nihongo o benkyou shimashou. Yes, benkyou shimashou ishoni. Alright, I have to go. Thanks for streaming. Thanks for dropping by, Battle Porridge. Hopefully I've incited the fire of Japanese within you. Duolingo sentences are some god tier content though. Yeah, I believe it. Please let me say I did that right. You did that right. How would that be pronounced? So that's yoru in chu. Yoru becomes... I don't know. I can't remember. I thought you streamed board games. What is this, Satya? Do I know you, Sundowners? Casually throwing out my real name. Casually. I do stream board games. I stream Go. I generally stream Go. I've been kind of a shit streamer lately. I've been a shit Go player lately. But I'm trying to, figure out what I like to do. But yeah, please leave. Sayonara if this isn't your content. But, Yonaka. Yonaka ne. But Yonaka doesn't mean midnight though, right? It just means like in the middle of the night. Like Yonaka. It just means like during night hours. I like eating sushi with a fork is one I remember. Fuck, why would they make that a fucking example sentence, John? That's horrible. I've won every game of Go I've played recently. Hey, John, that's a soft flex seeing as you don't play Go. I see you, brother. I, for one, welcome the advent of a Japanese lesson streamer. There you go. Tis not an original thing. John Cullen's been doing it for, like, literally daily for months and months and months that I've been following him. I recently stopped into a different streamer, a beautiful French accented Mazifakiel that's beginning to learn the language, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed the chat synergy, and I like teaching, and I like learning, so it's great. Damn, you busted me. Damn right I busted you. The section with seasons and to wash and all sorts of sentences, like I don't do the laundry in the winter. To Duolingo, man. Okay, wait, but there's one thing I really want to show. I can't show it because it's not on the computer. It's called, like, there's an iOS specific app called Imiwa, and it comes up with the most ridiculous example sentences. Like, okay, let me give you an example. Kento. So, so Kento means to examine, and for some example sentences, they give like a huge example sentence like, 面倒なようでも基本に立ち返って検討しないし直したらどうだろう。急げば回れと言うんじゃない。急げば回れと言うんじゃない。But basically, it's like this wall of text is just my computer. Wait, hang on. I'm gonna try to do a real streamer thing and focus. I shouldn't have done this. I regret everything. There's no way, right? Okay, it's not a webcam. I'm using a proper DSLR, but whatever. As long as I'm in focus, that's what matters. Anyway, basically, ridiculous simple sentences give me life. But yeah, this app is hilarious, and Duolingo sounds amazing too. Atesoe has been doing it for over a year. I was inspired by them. There you go. It's a circle. Back to the Reiji. Teacher said that she only hears it on the news and just used Juniji. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Juniji makes sense, like 12 o'clock. Yeah, Reiji, yeah. It's me, Nick from school. Oh, hey, Nick. Long time no see, mate. Welcome. I've never seen that. Nani nani fuyu nani nani shimasen. Honyaku? Suyaku o shimasen? Shiran wa ne. Yeah, I genuinely, my kanji is super shit, guys. You can easily like mess me up in chat, and I'll like copy paste to Jisho. I'm not amazing at kanji, so feel free to teach me whatever you'd like. Sky Walter. So I'm just never using the Reiji again. She put the fear of God in me, or fear in me. Reasonable. So Shinya. Shinya. Yeah. Shinya, right? Is that right? Something Shinya. Mayonaka. Okay, that's right. Mayonaka. That's right. Mayonaka. I've heard Mayonaka. That's true. But anyway, guys. We digress together. San all the time. The part that follows it may change shape, such as sampen. Okay. So these are like the irregulars. Okay, so we'll get to those as we cross them. But like, as Ed has put in chat, like if you say the first day of the month, it's pronounced suitachi for some goddamn reason. Second day is like futsuka, mika, yokka, stuff like that. Oh god, it sucks. Oh my god, it sucks. But this is a good point. I becomes ippun, 2分, 3分, 4分, 5分, 10分, for example, if you go to 10. And so this is good. I'd make a note of this for those of you who get the textbook, which is free. I don't know why you wouldn't. Do keep care of this. Do mind that. Yonji is most basic, but fourth year student is yonensei. So yon can become yo. Same with ku can be kuji. Q can become ku if it's 9. I'm going to skip over this. It's kind of really important, but it takes time. I can do a 20-minute lesson just on this stuff. So and we can go into it later if there's like a great demand for it. Okay. Apollo, hey mate. See that you can be on time to fire. Yeah. It can also mean ippaku. Ippaku means like can it mean ippaku? Or do they use small tsu there? Ippaku. I think it can mean like one night stay too. It can be pronounced ippaku too. It's like what? Who knows? I was on Japanese stream yesterday and he said zero for midnight. Just said 0 for midnight? Makes no sense. 0 just means 0, right? At least say 0G or some shit. But 0G sounds weird. You should definitely use 0G. Have you used the why Japanese people, why comedy starts about kanji? Yes. I know Atsugiri Jason pretty well. We've watched some of his stuff on John Callan's stream as well. Numbers without kanji is more common. Nimozbit. Actually, I never really see kanji as expressed as numbers except for in like sushi shops. Say that 5 times fast. But I would normally see numbers instead of kanji. 0G. No. I said it was midnight for me, and he was just like, 0. And I was like, what? Yeah, it's like, oh, hey, perfect. Okay, so we have 0. So I'll say 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, yo. Yo is like, these ones in parentheses aren't used like out loud. They can be like how it's expressed when it's combined with the different word, like nensei, yonensei. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that's a good question. So when you're counting up, you normally use shi and shichi. I'd say it's most natural. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. It wouldn't be unnatural, but it would be unnatural to me to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've heard 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I guess it's not unnatural, but I would default to shi and shichi there. Fun fact. And it goes on, and just mind that Ju, anything past 10 takes an extended u sound, something to pay attention to. But fun fact, in Japanese, right, you can count to 1 to 10 as I did a few times. But in Kansai area, they count it differently. I'll butcher this, and definitely look it up on YouTube or something. But it'd be, instead of saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it becomes like a song. It'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is literally how kids learn how to count to 10. It's insane. It blows my mind every time. It's like the one is literally a song, and they're not even trying to make it into a song. That's just how you'd pronounce the numbers in Kansai Ben. Kansai Ben is very like sing-songy, if you will. So it generally becomes a song. It's a really cool tidbit, I think. Okay. I learned my number kanji from Bleach Captains. There you go. Yeah. Sushiya. Kaiten sushi. Sushi. Kaiten sushi. Yeah. Whoever wants to utter shi, it's unlucky. Bad unlucky. Frig Kansai. No. Frig you, Ed Helen. Kansai, where's that? Okay, so read the following numbers. Let's say them out loud together. 5, 9, 7 or 7, 1, 10, 8, 2, 6, 4 or 4, 3. Perfect. So this is 4, 10, and 5. So 45, 45, 83, 19, 76. Yeah, see, there's no shichiju, it's just 70. 76, 52, 100, 100. And you don't say 100 or 100, it's just 100. 38, 61, 24. Ah, shit. Ah, I said G. Hold on. 38, 61, 24, 97. What are the answers? I'm not doing maths on this stream. Fuck, why would I? So not only are they testing your Japanese ability, they're testing your mad minutes as well. You had to say sushi shops 5 times fast. I see. Kansai is confusing. You're confusing. Sorry, I would defend Kansai with my freaking life. I love Kansai, man. I learned numbers Shigo Rokunana because I swear that's what they said in episodes of Heroes. Heroes like the American show Heroes with a Japanese person named Hiro. 330, there's no hyaku in it. That's right. So for sang, if you refer to the up over here, it's like sampun becomes sampun, and when it becomes like sam plus hyaku, it becomes sambyaku. Yeah, good point. God, I can't imagine how difficult it would be to be like a Japanese teacher to actually go over all of these things in like excruciating detail, but like on a time schedule too. Like I've been streaming this for 2 hours and 20 minutes, and like we basically made it through 20 pages. I mean, like we're more than halfway through the chapter, but okay. So this is just telling time. I wish that they'd write the numbers, but I guess it's too much of a giveaway. Basically, it's just the number plus the particle, or not the particle, the noun G, the counter G to show time. So what time is it? Ima nanji desu ka? 1時半 desu. It's 1:30. So here they put freaking numbers, but here they won't. Oh, they do actually. Whoops, that's my bad. They absolutely do. Wow, I'm blind. Some other dialects are even crazier. Yeah, like Hakata Ben is insane. I learned how to count to 10 in karate when I was 7. That's funny that you say that, Nick, because I learned how to say count to 10 in Korean when I was learning Taekwondo. Hyaku is only kyo when it's byaku. I like pyaku too, though. Actually, I lied. I like them all. They're all chill. Yes, when they introduce Hiro, they introduce him exercising on a roof chanting 1 through 10. Oh, with katana strikes, I guess. It also taught me the way of the warrior and honor and stuff. I quit when I was 8. Nothing left to learn. You've become the ultimate honorable karate master. Ippon. I did judo when I was 7. There you go. Yeah, judo uses ippon, and some terminology like like that. Okay. So here we have some general questions. Tokyo wa ima nanji desu ka? Tokyo wa ima nanji desu ka? So as for Tokyo, what time is it now? Tokyo's over here. Remember, this is a Japanese map, so it's like this is the century. Like I'm North American trash, so I like look over here immediately. Well, I look to the left immediately, thinking that this would be North American. I look here for Japan, but lo and behold, Japan's in the center, because that makes sense. I know more Japanese terms for the parts of my sword than I do for buying at a konbini. Not kombi, konbini. Kombi means combination, like manzai kombi, konbini. But yeah, reasonable. So this is just will help you with time expressions. Don't forget that PM is gogo, and generally time expressions go in the beginning of a sentence. So ima would be at the beginning of a sentence, not later on. Same with gogo, gozen, kino, ashita. All these things would go in the beginning of a sentence. So you'd say, Sweden wa Stockholm. Fuck it. London wa ima nanji desu ka? London wa ima nanji desu ka? Gogo 6時 desu. Gogo 6時 desu. It's 6 p.m. there. Point in case I haven't gotten konbini on my belt. Most people just know more terms for Japanese weapons and armor than a lot of things. RPG gaming for the win? Yeah. No, it's because I practice taijutsu. Laijutsu? I don't know what laijutsu is, but that's cool. Alright, denwa bango. This is really fun because it becomes kind of sing-songy. Read the following people's telephone numbers. We'll just do a couple. Daigaku, and then... So we have 2 verbs, right? Or 2 nouns. One is daigaku, which means college, university. And the other noun is a telephone number. How do we connect 2 nouns? With the particle no. Daigaku no denwa bango wa... Similar thing. Yamashita-san no denwa bango wa 283の954の77 desu. This no is not the combination no, it's just the hyphen, which is kind of confusing and I kind of hate it, but it is a true thing. Yeah, that's a capital I. Oh, iaijutsu. Yaijutsu. No. Stockholm. Stockholm. Thank you. Thank you, Nesnubit. Fun fact, for foreigners, the thing that trips you up the most is not the Japanese or the kanji. It's pronouncing katakana-fied words in katakana and not in English. It's troll as shit. Okay. 電話番号は何ですか? Literally means, ask for the phone number, what is it? But they're not asking what a phone number is, because with context, we can tell that it's asking for your phone number. 283の9547です. It's this one. And so on and so forth. Perfect. Oh, ですね. If you can add ne at the end to be like, right? It's kind of like a, you know, isn't it kind of thing, but like almost hypothetical. Oh, so in this situation, this is actually kind of useful. So what's your phone number? This is my phone number. And then the first person who asks will repeat it back to the second person to confirm. And to show that confirmation, he adds ne at the end. Right? It's like, this is your phone number, right? Like I'd read it back to you and say right at the end. And that's what that's used for. We don't have group work because it's just me and you guys. And, you know, say California. 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 They use nia. Yeah. California. I know the word yeah just because L5R. What's L5R? Double toru. Panirarate. Banirarate. Okay. Double toru banirarate. Kill me. Oh my god, katakana words destroy me. Ends up saying half correctly and half English, just make a mess. I just use the English. I honestly do. Unless I'm trying to be really, really nice to the person I'm speaking to, or like really, really proper, then I just like California. Yeah, that's right. I just stopped trying to say Baltimore and other than it is just English. Yeah, big same. I'm out. Let me know if you want to league or something later. Will do, mate. Will do. Thanks for popping by. Yeah, Baltimore. Baltimore. Yeah, I hate it. I really hate it. Especially names of places. They can just die. Okay. We'll kind of go briefly through this, but not really. AK, we'll kind of skip this because we're also going to do this is basically group work and saying like, refer to this to answer questions about these people. And there's a lot of questions to be answered. And it's like a lot of information, which is good, but that's why we have workbook exercises, right? So like here, this would be like, Meari-san. Okay, so you use the two nouns to make a sentence asking about it. So like, Meari-san wa Arizona Daigaku no gakusei desu ka? And then you go up like a fucking 18-year-old in like college classes and you look at Mary. This is Mary. Is she a student of University of Arizona? She is. You can be like, so desu. And if she's not, then you correct the sentence. God, it's so much effort. I'm trying to accept in proper nouns, given up on katakana proper nouns because people tend to know them like cities. Yeah. Mexico. Yep. I don't mind saying Mexico in katakana, lol. Yeah, Mexico is kind of fun. Re katakana. Anyone else seen the Gaki no Tsukai bit with Massachusetts? I think I've seen the one, but I can't remember which one it is. John. Oh, that's gold. Okay, if you guys don't know, Gaki no Tsukai is like the best variety bangami in Japan. It's not really. Most Japanese people don't even really watch it religiously like I do and John does. But it's just like super funny skits and like antics. It's really fun. Okay. And this is the same. This is really good stuff to do. Like if you guys are going through the textbook, we should definitely do this together. I won't be doing it right now. Actually, I can do this one pretty easily. Okay. So we'll read the first one together. お父さんは会社員ですか? お父さんは会社員ですか? As for father, is he a worker, like a office worker? Works for a company. He does, right? Occupation, 会社員. はい、会社員です. はい、会社員です. Or そうです. Or はい。お父さんは何歳ですか? As for father, how old is he? We see 48. お父さんは48歳. 48歳. It's so annoying. 48歳です. Please refrain. Who to ask permission from? Me, silly. Of course. Who else? 神様. Ideology. Thanks for the follow, mate. Welcome to the channel. I appreciate it. Igirisu. Hate it. Igirisu Jin is worse. I posted a link. Permission. I know you posted a link. What kind of link did you post? Hello, my name is Mernaz. Welcome. Oh, Gaki no Skylink. Okay. Sorry. Let me permit Nemozebit. Are you Turkmen? I'm not Turkmen. I don't know what that means. I was born and raised in the US. My parents are Indian. I'm a Sikh, hence the turban and beard. Yes. Okay. So we can use this. The issue feels bad, but it's basically just constant comprehension. Review exercise. Perfect. Onamae wa? What is your name? Watashi no namae wa John desu. My name is John. I volunteered you, John Cullen. John, figure out how to not have it delete an entire chat history for a person if angry in the bot if you care. I do care. Okay, I'm from Iran. Hey, welcome. And you not say my name. Say Mernaz. Mernaz? Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Mernaz. Yeah, so John, if you want to type, just ask John later. I have no idea what's going on than you when I angered it. Yeah. Alas, John's definitely more savvy than me. Okay, so that's the bad thing about having a textbook is because like you can't really do the review exercises with teammates and like classmates, and like have the CD, the accompanying CD with all the dictation stuff. But we can at least do this one. Jiko Shokai, self-introduction, introduce yourself to the class. I think for me, it was just the timeout deletes the chat history. Okay. I'll look into it. Okay, so Jiko Shokai is really important. So I set the timeout for link deleting to 0 seconds. Okay. I didn't know you could do that. That could make... okay. Good to know. Very good to know. Let me do that real quick, actually. Let me implement that. Streamlabs dashboard. Moderation. 1 second. CloudBot. Moderation. Moderation, where are you? Mod tools. Link protection. Preferences. Timeout. Well, I also want it to be like, you know, if someone like freaking does it. Wait, what does purge do? No way. I don't even know. I'm too fair. I'll put it to 0 seconds, but like if you keep doing... Oh, it says the duration field must be 1 or more. Oh, but punishment... I can't put no punishment either. Oh, but here's a self-plug. If you're a regular or a sub, but don't be a sub. Don't actually subscribe to me. If you're a regular on the channel, then you can post links, apparently. It auto permits you. Permit duration, say for like 120 seconds. Let's make the punishment 1 second. I don't know. I don't know if it'll work or not, to be honest, but I'll work on it in the future. Good night, guys. Good night, Yo-Yo. What's a regular? A person that shows up regularly. It's in the name. Not to be a dick. Okay, so Jiko Shokai. Remember, when you first begin something, you have to start with Hajimemashite. It literally means like I'm beginning my spiel. Hajimemashite. Well, it means like when you meet someone for the first time, you say Hajimemashite. Then you give your name and who you are, how old you are, what your major is. And you say, you know, please be kind to me. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. So if I were to give a Jiko Shokai about me as a Twitch streamer being said in parentheses, I could say, Hajimemashite. Rayon sai desu. Rayon sai desu. I've finished school, so I can say, Nito desu. Nito desu. I'm a part-timer. Ima, 25 歳desu. I'm currently 25 years old. 専攻がありません. I don't have a major because I'm not in school. よろしくお願いします. It's a really, really shit Jiko Shokai, but I don't really know what to tell about myself, you know. What's irregular for every stream? Yeah, you know, casually. Not every stream. I don't know I don't genuinely know the parameters. Ask Streamlabs. 趣味は? Okay, perfect. Okay, I can answer these two. 趣味は囲碁と 囲碁と、まあ友達と遊んだり、言語を勉強したり、たまにスポーツやったりします。So my hobbies are like playing Go, hanging out with friends, researching language, or like studying languages, hanging out with friends sometimes even sports. Nito desu ka? Yeah, I said Nito. Nito means not currently employed or in the education training. I don't know. It's an actual English phrase that Japanese have taken, and it's like part of their everyday vernacular. But yeah, okay. This is so you can get to know your peers. Useful expressions. Yes, these are all useful expressions. I won't go over them, but they are useful. Not in education, employment, or training. Thank you very much. And that's been a bit. I learned neat from kon. What's keon? What's kon? Okay, these are the best things. Kaimono is not kaimono. Oh wait, shit, is this chapter 2? This is chapter 2. This is 100% chapter 2. Fun fact, Genki has kaiwas, sample dialogues, for every chapter. So you can know when you're at the end of a chapter, because besides from the giant fucking number at the top of it, and it's saying lesson 2, even in your native language, which is presumably English, if you somehow miss those cues, like I had, you can see a dialogue, and then you know you've gone too far. So now, I can't believe we're doing this, but we'll switch over to the workbook. Hajimemashite. Edo desu. I can say where I'm from. Estonia jin desu. Igo no puro ni naritai desu. Naritai hito desu. You can even make that better. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Yoroshiku. I learned from NHK no Nihon NHK ni yokoso. Ah, cool. Very cool. Yeah. Nito is like super used in Japanese language. Super used. There's a lot of Nito. The reason, I think culturally, the reason is because you can get by, you can get by in like a living wage, not living wage, but you can exist off of doing part-time jobs for like 40 hours a week, which I guess becomes a full-time job. But like, even if you don't have one company, you can just work a bunch of different small jobs and make a life for yourself. So Nito is pretty common. Ed struggles with formality because that is not formal. Ed should become formal if he wants to live in Japan and become a pro at the Nihonkin. I thought Nito has very negative meaning. Does it not? Mom. I guess that it does have a negative connotation. Nito desu. But I'd say it's like increasingly common. So I'm not sure. Yeah. I said it sardonically because I didn't actually expect anyone to know what Nito was, but is there welfare in Japan? There's like hella like pension, and it kind of sucks for the younger people because I won't go into that. But welfare, is there like a social welfare? I don't think so. During Corona there was hella, but I don't think so in general. Jianjian Shogi, thanks for the follow, mate. Welcome. Okay, so what are these people saying? This is how we can have fun. But there'll be a delay lag, but it's one. You can see this person's crying. They've clearly just come out of like a really shit breakup. This is where you say, "Kekkon shite kudasai, please marry me." This is clearly what's happening. This is the best aisatsu you've ever seen in your life. "Kekkon shite kudasai, please marry me." No, it's not that. This dude is not sad because of a breakup. It's clearly freaking 8 a.m. The sun is rising. He's tired. He's sleepy. He's yawning. So it's Ohayo. Ohio, because they're the same age. So it's not Ohayo gozaimasu, it's just Ohio. Number 2, I have no idea. I genuinely don't know what this is supposed to be. Which is why we have our textbook. One, we can go here to the vocabulary section, just because I knew this would happen, and I don't freaking know the vocab. I mean, I do know the vocab, don't get me wrong. I just don't know only the vocab. Okay. Additional vocab. Here we go. Perfect. So, do any of these help with a person? Okay, you can say, "Otou-san desu ka? Are you my daddy? Are you my father?" I'm fucking dying. I don't know what this is. Konnichiwa, I guess. I don't know why she looks hopeful. I don't know why this dude looks perplexed. 420 I know that kanji, but I can't remember it. Yase. Those parts of the workbooks were so dumb the pictures weren't always clear. Exactly. No, that's actually true. And fun fact, when I was doing Japanese 300 level with Genki 2 books, basically, the Japanese teacher was hard of hearing. And so when he was hard of hearing, it means like if he didn't hear you give the right answer or any answer, he just assumed you gave the wrong answer. And then he just like kind of, he wouldn't say no, that's wrong. He just like kind of looked disappointed briefly and like go to the next question for like the next person. And it's just really angsty because like you said the right answer, he just didn't hear you, or the pictures were vague, so you got the wrong answer. But like you know the material. Oh man, it's so much effort. I have the answer keys. Let's see what they wanted there. Yeah, please. I think she's asking whether he wants help, but we haven't learned that vocabulary yet. Onamae, hey, what? Omae wa mou shinderu. Number 3? No, that's number 2. Like, she's actually the angel of death, or they're actually the angel of death. This dude's actually already dead. Omae wa mou shinderu. He's like, nani? Ohayo konnichiwa konbanwa 1, 2, 3. Ohayo konnichiwa konbanwa. Okay, so it is konnichiwa. And of course, this dude's at night. He's not like, tsugi doko ikimashou ka? Where should we go next? Like a typical drunk salaryman would be. He should say, konbanwa, good evening. Because he's, even though he's drunk as shit, he has his manners about him. Itadakimasu is goban, gochou-sama deshita is 6-1. Yeah, very good. What about number 4? What's number 4, Ed Helen? That's right. So if you're detail oriented, you can see that there's a lot of food here. And so therefore this one is itadakimasu. And that's you closing your eyes because you know you're saying that. But when your eyes are open and the food is gone, you say gochou-sama. Bill, please. Yeah. No, it's, yeah, you can say okaike wa, kaike wa. But no, it's actually sumimasen, because remember, in the West, it's rude to, you know, say yo to your waiters and like call attention to yourself. But in Japan, even at a pretty posh restaurant, you're right, because they got wine and steak and they're using utensils and stuff, you can say sumimasen. This should be sumimasen. So this is a two-parter. So the person leaving is saying ittekimasu. The mother, presumably, itterashai. Tadaima. Okaeri nasai. Number 2 is arigato. What? Number 2 is arigato. That seems pretty some like, oh, okay. So he's holding her shopping bits. I don't know. It's a sugar daddy situation. I'm not judging, you know, all the more power to them. 4 is denwa bango. 4, yeah. On a lovely date, but like casually chatting up the waitress, the server. That's bold, right in front of his face. Exactly. He carries her crap. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, there's something called, recently I brought up sugar daddy as a meme answer, but I can show you guys another thing. Nothing NSFW, don't worry. There's a person named Nobita from Japan. That's like part of his title, and he reports really well on issues in Japan, and from like a really reasonable perspective. Some of it's still biased, and some of it's like a little racist, but like it's not his fault necessarily. It's just West is a little bit different society, like standards wise. But this is, so I said sugar daddy, but there's also a growing movement in Japan called papakatsu, which is basically that papa lifestyle. So I think I know. When I grow up, I want to be wasabi. Hilarious. I saw someone using kanji that was oil prints. Wow. Nobita has such nice videos. Yeah, he really does. It's very cool. Okay, so what is this young person saying to their class with this freaking, what is this eyeball? Wait, chat. Wait, we got this. This is the technology. This is the good stuff right here. Oh no. Look at this eyeball. It's actually a frog. Okay. But when you're standing in front of a class, you say hajimemashite, because apparently that's your first day. This one, we should be able to come up with something funny, right? What can we say? I don't know. Actually, Monka. Yeah, right? That poor scan quality. Hey man, it's free resource. Don't at people. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. This can be, okay, but in the beginning it should be hajimemashite. I guess a bow would be like yoroshiku onegaishimasu. We can still see the simp on the other side. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's what you mean by scan quality. Yeah, that's true. That's funny, actually. I never realized that. Uwaki o shiteiru hito. Uwaki o shiteiru. Yep. He's cheating on him. Number 12. Yeah. It's like, もう別れよ means, or if you want to use like 手の語もう別れましょう let's break up, because yes, he was caught cheating and she's saying goodbye. This isn't like anything too horrible. It's just like oyasuminasai, right? Good night. And then this lady says to this lady, I don't know. I mean, it should probably just be like konnichiwa, but you know. Because that made me legit laugh out loud. Glad it didn't fall flat. Yeah. No, it was great. Okay, following numbers in Arabic numerals. Go is 5, 0 is 0, Q is 9, San is 3, Nana is 7, Ni is 2, Roku is 6, Ichi is 1, Hachi is 8, Yon is 4, Juroku is 16, Yonju is 40, Niju Ichi is 21, Hyakurokujuyon is 164, Kyuju 92, Sanjugo 35, Nanajuroku 76, 18, 18, 157, 157, 101, 101. 12 is sayonara, right? Oh, okay. 12 makes sense. Sayonara. Yeah, exactly. It fits the narrative, right? Mo wakaru yo. Sayonara. Let's break up. Goodbye forever. And Helen's good catch-all answer for all of them. What would you type? Kimochi nai. Kimochi warui. Fine. Yeah, kimochi warui. Kimochi warui. Yep. Okay. Just remembering times is fine. Okay, this is another good page. Oh yeah, because it's not the textbook, it's the workbook. This is combining all three grammatical elements that we've learned. So using no to connect two nouns and the construction of x while y this. And I'm sure particle question mark ka will be in the phrase too. So so let's say Japanese student. So like Meari-san wa Nihongo no gakusei desu. Takeshi-san no denwa bango wa 111の111の111です。私の友達は A no B. Using the phrase wait, my friend. Okay. 私の友達は so 私の友達. What kind of friend? 私の friend. 私の friend です。私の友達はjudanです。Like is a judan, tendan and go. I know it's weird, right? John-san wa John-san, like John in chat. John-san wa 英語の先生です。英語の先生です。Michiko-sanの専攻は心理学です。Michiko's major is psychology. 日本語の先生、日本語の学生、映画の先生ちゃう、バカ。I didn't say 映画, I said 英語. I said 英語の先生, not 映画の先生. I think. I could be wrong. Cool. So now we're using this grammatical sentence to translate the sentence. Miss Ogawa is Japanese. If I really wanted to go ham, which I definitely do not, I could do this thing where I can go here and then here and be like here. And then I use my IMEI, or IME rather, not IMEI. Ogawa. Change it to hiragana. Ogawa-san. That's kanji, we don't want that. Ogawa-san wa Nihon Jin desu. Right? Similarly, we can say Takeda-san wa Sensei desu. Wow, we're learning so much. Oh, and the periods. Remember, periods are like small circles. Did I type ego? I meant to type ego. Whoops. Yeah, so it's great. Technology is great. This is gonna be for you, John Collin. Technology is great, and like props to you. Technology is great, but like if you type the wrong thing and don't recognize the kanji is wrong, you will look silly. I meant to joke that the English teachers are idiots because English is a stupid language. Kappa. 私は留学生です. Yeah, very good. Because and doesn't exist in Java. I'm not going to type it, but and does not exist in Japanese, just saying 留学生です. So you can say 私は留学生です or you can just say 留学生です. No, you should say 私は留学生です. 春菜さんは1年生です. 春菜さんは1年生です. 山本さんは25歳です. 山本さんは25歳です. 私の専攻は日本語です. 日本語です. So exactly how answering book for Genki 1 is, just looking like someone writing with a red pen. Genki 2 says screw that and rams into one giant run-on sentence with numbers in between. Yeah. I kind of remember that. It's hilarious. So this is kind of cool. This is a nice like learning method because now you're supposed to reverse, like use the answer to make a question, which is really good for your brain, dynamically speaking. So you know that the answer is 4年生です. 4年生です. So now you have to remember A, what does yo mean here? And what does 4年生 as a phrase mean? And then how do you make a question with the answer of 4年生? This like particular exercise is fantastic, I think. So what's the question? It's like Jeopardy. What's the question that makes this answer? 何年生ですか? 何年生ですか? 4年生です. 4年生です. 歴史です. 歴史です. So you have to know what 歴史 is, history, and what does that relate to? Majors. 専攻は何ですか? 専攻は何ですか? What is your major? 歴史です. 19歳です. 19歳です. Therefore, ergo, the question must be 何歳ですか? 何歳ですか? 19歳です. 4さんの Oh, okay. See, I read Yonsan as a name, but it's not. It's Yonsan no 69177です. 電話番号は何ですか? 43の 43-6917 です. So 69177. Number 5. すみません. 今何時ですか? すみません、今何時ですか? Perfect. 今9時半です. Perfect. And amazing timing too, Ed. What is say in that context? What is say in this context? Say, 4年生, 年生. 年生 is this one. Like year and like say is like, what is say? Like 生物の say. That's a different say. Anyway, 4年生. So nen is year and sei is like 学生 sensei no sei. Translate the following sentences into Japanese. Are you a student? So you guys might have heard of anata. So watashi is I, anata is you, but anata is not used in Japanese very well to yuka, very often. It's kind of rude to say anata or anta. It's like almost like pointing your finger at someone. It's like that kind of grimy kind of feeling. So you wouldn't say anata wa gakusei desu ka, even though that's perfectly correct. You'd say gakusei desu ka. Or if you want to be trendy and real, you can say gakusei-san desu ka? Gakusei-san, like are you a... Remember how in occupation it's like kokosei? So similar, you can be like gakusei-san desu ka? Like are you a student? Yes, I'm a student at Nihon University. 日本大学の学生です. A, 日本大学の学生です. Or はい、そうです. Or はい、日本大学の学生です. There's so many possibilities. So it's like you're at school, uni, exactly that, John. And now forget anata. Perfect, yeah. Let me introduce anata. Now, like immediately forget anata. Anata wa mae kimi, temae? Teme? Yeah, so anata is rude, omae is rude, teme is unforgivably rude, kisama is like anime level rude. Yeah. So it's like almost by specifying a subject that isn't you, you're being like rude, so you should avoid it. Is Michiko a fourth year student? Michiko-san wa 4年生ですか? Remember, not 4年生, not 4年生, but 4年生ですか? いいえ、みちこさんは3年生です。みちこさんは As for Michiko-san, 3年生です. She's a third year student. Can't listen to these phrases. This dude looks hilarious. This is clearly intentional, no matter how you look at it. Such bollocks. She's absolutely like heel stomping him. Sometimes it just feels like forget all pronouns. Yeah, when you speak in casual speech, you forget particles and pronouns. So it feels that way, you know. This is a listening comprehension thing. Okay, 答えましょう. Let's answer these questions. Comprehensive. お名前は? 私の名前はライオンガイサイです。Or simply ライオンガイサイです。仕事は何ですか? ニートです。ニートです。何年生ですか? 学校に入ってない? 入ってません。Okay, I can answer this way. So it's asking me what year in school I am, but I'm not in any year in school, right? So もう卒業しました。もう卒業しました. I already graduated. Which introduces a verb, which is bollocks because we haven't learned verbs yet properly, but 何歳ですか? 今年26歳です. This year I will turn 26. 専攻は何ですか? もう卒業しましたが I already graduated, but 専攻はビジネスと心理学でした. I already graduated, but my majors were psychology and business. 電話番号は何ですか? 言えるもんか. As if I'd tell you. チルノバカですか? チルノは本バカです。One is ascended from the like educational system. Exactly. Sotsugo is like graduated. Yeah, exactly. Education's myth. Big mood. Well, I just looked at the answer key. Mary had a last name. Mayari's last name is Mary. It's something really obvious, isn't it? Wait, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Mary. Something to. There's a tone there somewhere. Mary Smito. Hato. Mary Hato. I knew this. No, I care about Mary's last name, Ed Helen. I care about Mary. Exactly. It's Hato. I knew it. Yeah, dude. I'm OG as fuck. No, you have to, if you're going to learn Genki, you have to care about Mary and Takeshi and their long journey together, which ends in chapter 23 of Genki 2. Team Genki lore. That's right. And Roberto-san wa ne. And Sue-san. So these four characters are like OG. Is Sue-san, Korean student, Roberto-san, Mayari-san, and Takeshi-san. These four are OG. Sue-san mostly because she's Korean and her name's in katakana as well. Which is weird. But I think she's Korean. I could be misremembering. This may not be canon. Numbers. Write the following numbers in Arabic numerals. 1. 470. 470. 100. I'm so fucking serious. Sorry. 800. 853. 853. 853. 1300. 1300. This is also a good one. So this is, you'll learn this in a bit. Actually, this is the next one too. Okay. So hyaku is just hyaku by itself, means 100. You don't have to say 100, it's just 100. Sen is the same way. You don't say ichi-sen, you just say sen is 1000. Then you can say ni-sen is 2000, like that. Sanzen. But man requires the word ichi before it. Ichiman. Man means 10,000. So number 4, it says ichiman nanasen. You have to have ichi or ni or whatever, but it can't just be man. It has to be ichiman. So ichiman nanasen would be 17,000. Oh man, that's one thing I really don't like about even India. India, China, Japan, they all count like 10,000s, and like India has weird ones too, like koror. It's weird. But like if I see a sign or like a price tag that says like 473 man yen, it's like, how much is that? And then I'm like, oh, it's $47,300. But it's like, what the hell? Or yen, I don't know. Yeah, ichiman can suck it. Yeah, exactly. When people ask me how much I can speak and I struggle, I say it's because I can tell you more about what's in Mary's bag than I can tell you about my own life. That's funny. Do they end up in divorce and alimony? Stay tuned and find out. Or that seems like a long time to stay tuned. You can just download Genki 2 and read the Owakare chapter. which kind of gives it away if you know that word in Japanese. I came here for the education, not the story. Well, Ed Helen, if you're here for the education and not the story, then fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. Everyone is welcome, but you know, it's a community, not a solo thing. Spoilers? Yeah, I know. What can I say? Okay. Writing numbers sucks. Reading everything in hiragana sucks, but c'est la vie. You can answer questions about prices. This is chapter 2. Perfect. Where we'll learn about kore sore are and dore, presumably. But yeah. Let me go back to the title page of Genki 1 so it makes a nice little thumbnail for the VOD. Everything for the VOD. Perfect, chat. I don't know who would have possibly stuck by me for 3 hours. I think John did. I'm impressed and like moved and like, you know, all these things, John. Thanks for sticking by the whole stream. Does anyone have any questions? Nice stream. I stayed up till midnight. I'm really happy. I'm still here. Yeah. Thanks, guys. You know, I'm not trying to single anyone out. I'm just like really, because I know John's in a different time zone and that's incredible. I feel very touched. But we did. So 3 hours is a long time, and we definitely skipped over some stuff. So I think it makes more sense to, in the future, next week, for example, let's say next Monday or something, we can do one part, and then Friday or something, we can do another part. Gui gui no nakami? Gui gui no nakami tte nanya? Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Dropping knowledge. You know it now. Y'all are now my at-work podcast. Well, hey, mate. I'm glad I can distract you from work or not. But yeah, with that, こんにちは。こんにちは。いや、でもすごいタイミングですけど、妄想が終わるんですけど、申し訳ないと思います。I just, if your name's in Japanese, I'm assuming you speak Japanese, so I addressed you in Japanese. If you don't speak Japanese, I apologize for assuming. How do I say here in my garage? あら、全然。いや、もう、一応フォローしてくれてありがとうございます。すごく感謝しております。Only casually patching all of it buses in my city south of Cincinnati. No, Piggy. There you go. 日本語上手ですね。いや、まだまだですよ。全然上手じゃありません。これからですよ。でも、一応、この辺にしときましょう。But yeah, this is a good time to end the stream. But yeah, in the future, if you guys have any ideas, and I mean any ideas whatsoever, about what you guys might want to learn on days that we're not doing Genki textbook, just please hop in the Discord and drop me a line, or even whisper to me on Twitch if commitment's not your thing, and we'll figure it out. But yeah, みんなさんへよろしくお願いします。You know, let's work together in the future to learn Japanese together. So, おやすみなさい、John。お疲れ様。いや、無理やよ。読めねえし。星つめ。Okay, later. Thanks for the stream. おやすみなさい。はい。Alright. Bye, guys. Bye, bye.